Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Virtue's Last Reward. With any luck, we might actually be done with this game in this episode, but the odds are low. It's been a while since I last played, so I kind of don't even remember particularly what was going on so much. Like, we got Quark's ending, which revealed that the old lady who was dead and who was, I guess, Zero, turned out to be a Kane from the previous game. And that's pretty much it. Quark doesn't have any backstory. He's basically a non-character here just to be the replacement character, I guess, for Akane's ending, which in a real way, it kind of makes it feel like then this should have been labeled as Akane's ending, not Quark's ending. Which pretty much means Tomoji is Junpei, the main character you play as in the first game. And I guess that means when he said he knew who Zero was, that's what he meant. But when he said he had to pay, he was probably talking about Dio. We know pretty much all about Dio. He was the first one to know anything about. There is still suspicion here that in some weird way I am, I guess not Zero, but somebody who maybe even worked with Akane, the father of K, that, or at least the original version of me worked with the father of K and cloned himself to make K, and then potentially cloned himself again to make the Sigma that I'm playing as, which could also explain why we're seeing different timelines, is because we're like clones or something. It also opens up the idea that Phi may just be Akane's clone. And then that sadly does not really tie in well with Alice or Clover, who end up still being kind of side storied, even though theoretically you would think that they would have gotten at least a hint that the old woman was Akane. At least Clover, you would have thought, would have gotten that hint, but it didn't get thrown. And we know that the password here that we need is equals Jumpy Doll, but we haven't seen any doll named Jumpy. So my only thing I can do here before I get frustrated and just type in look in the walkthrough is type in the passwords to the bombs, which I do have all the passwords to the bombs. So for number 2 here, we know that it's EQDDYRNTK.
You got it?
We had about 7 minutes to type in any passwords.
Hook it up.
And it's only one timeline
Okay.
in which you actually
Plug in the password.
have time for this. So we just tried the first password,
Calm down.
and it didn't work.
You probably just typed it in wrong.
No way, I'm sure I did it right.
Again.
And see, they slow down the audio there, which that's a nice touch. Yeah, nothing. This password's no good.
It's different. All 3 bombs use different passwords.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Shit.
And it still stands out that this was like the one point when Phi cusses. I feel like Dio probably does cuss in some scenarios, and certainly Sigma is cussing like crazy, but you don't have him voiced.
This is bad. What the hell are we gonna do? Try and remember it. Did you see or hear anything in another history that could be a password? A different password?
You mean like a different history from the other one I remembered?
Yeah. You figured it out there.
See, in this timeline, you're just barely even figuring out that you could remember.
Very well right now. Remember what happened with the last bomb. This one is just like that.
Another history. Another history. The password. Do I know what it is? Can I remember it? I have to. So here we are, and number 2 bomb EQD. EQD. We just want to be certain. DYR. R. And this will get us to the next section in TK fairly quickly, I imagine. So we can then type in the third code. And I suppose there are definitely scenarios where you would have played the game and come back in here and put in a different password
Damn, this is crazy.
To unlock the second bomb and still not know the password for the third bomb or the number 0 bomb.
So you did know it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Don't scare me like that, alright?
Come on, it's not like I was hiding it. I just couldn't remember it at first, and then it just kind of floated up. Or maybe it drifted down.
Point is, we disarmed the thing. Amazing.
You sure don't sound very amazed.
Okay. That just leaves us with the last bomb. It's,
It's in the garden.
right. Let's go take care of it while you're on a roll with these things.
Gotta make it sound so easy.
Don't just stand there. Let's go.
Yeah. And you only have one password input device. She spun around and was gone, so you can't split up. I gripped the input device tightly and headed off of after her. That'd be funny if you dropped the device and broke it. There was one thing I was definitely thinking about. Just how crazy and badly written this game is. Particularly when you get to the Golem Bay and the Golems and how they have not really played any role. And they're just thrown out. You feel like they're almost a red herring, but in reality, they are there to explain away a big question as to how these people would have been put in AB rooms when Zero Jr. is an AI, but you didn't really need that at all. You could, like, I'm fairly certain in the same conversation that Zero Jr. says he's an AI, he also says that Zero is one of your group there. And it would have been easy for you to simply say, the one who created me, Zero Senior, the real Zero, kidnapped you and put you all in AB rooms and then left me in charge to monitor and run the games. There's no need really to bring in a robot golem. There's no need to bring in cybernetic arms as a reveal, because you could have easily just also smashed your real arm there. But even if you were going to do cybernetic arms, why do cybernetic both arms instead of just doing one cybernetic hand? Pant, 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 pant.
The last one.
This is the number 1. Yeah.
How many minutes left?
I feel like we got the codes in basically this order also. We have 9 minutes. Less than 10.
It's okay. We can still make it. Just stay calm, alright? You have the input device?
Yeah, of course. They don't even show a cord connecting to this. They crop it off screen. And you know that's because this is just a pre-rendered asset that they purchased and not something they made themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if actually they had to buy 2 versions of this same asset to have Japanese characters on it for the Japanese version of the game. Although I also wouldn't be surprised if it was just English passcodes always. Yeah, there we go, connected.
Go. We've
Go.
done this twice already. Do you really need a third pep talk?
Third pep talk. And see, that doesn't even seemingly have gotten us to this next novel section yet. You want me to remember another password, right?
What else would I be talking about?
But
Don't sweat it. You did great the last 2 times. I'm sure this one will be a cakewalk.
and our main character supposedly has a great memory, but
Time's a charm, right?
doesn't seem like there's any real explanation that's going to come out to indicate that that's more than just a natural occurrence. That's not really how that's used. I'm just worried that lightning's not gonna strike twice, or thrice in this case, I guess.
No, I think mine still works.
Fi increasingly is also, like, becoming incapable of speaking normal English. And I think this is supposed to be a hint of something, that her brain is shutting down. She's like some kind of robot.
There's nothing to suggest the first and second times aren't charmed too.
I guess so.
Whatever. Just do it.
See, she's basically babbling
You're the
now.
only person who can.
What about you? You can jump to other worlds too, right?
Yeah, but I can't remember things as well as you, all right? I'm doing the best I can, but either I haven't seen the stuff you have, or I just can't remember it. Maybe we've been going to different worlds. Anyway,
Yeah. I'll give it a
I'm
shot.
counting on you.
Yeah, Fi is just all over the place with the voice acting and with what she's saying. And frankly, if I was a little bit sleepier playing this, I may not even have caught on to this fact. The password. Remember Sigma. Come on, lightning can strike twice or even 3 times. You can do it. You did it before, you did it twice before. This is nothing. You're a champion. Come on, Sigma. You can do this. It's the #1 bomb, right? We gotta remind ourselves of that because it very well may not tell us. Come on, Sigma. You can do this. Pull open the door to your memories. And some of these flashbacks definitely indicate the timeline you would have had to seen to do that. Alright, so #1 is BQZ. BQZ. RGJ. RGJ. I'm assuming that's a G. It'd be really crazy if that was a number, since none of the other ones have been numbers. DXR. See, I wonder if my handwriting is particularly bad here compared to how another player would play. I mean, it's not great, certainly. Like, using a mouse to write notes is not gonna get you perfect lettering, where typing would have been easier, or frankly, even just having it automatically fill in some kind of crazy, like, detective map with the red lines that you often see in movies. That would have been a cool way to reveal passwords and give them some kind of labels so you know where the passwords go. And also, you could have just done a jigsaw puzzle type idea, and jigsaw pieces would have come off to reveal the full truth. That you could definitely get more video gamey with these passwords instead of doing something that you would expect a NES game to do. Like, really, back when there were passwords to let you skip to a level, just having the game tell you code. So I should have a few more minutes to potentially figure out where the 0 bomb is, and then die from it probably, and then we'll have to replay this level, I bet. And then we'll have to run towards to the next thing. And that was the #1 bomb. Yeah, suck on that, Dio, you arrogant SOB. Ah ha ha. Ah, that feels good. I haven't felt this satisfied in ages. It's like my whole brain is just swimming in endorphins. I feel like it's just gonna melt and dribble out of my ears. This is, without a doubt, what heaven feels like. It could also be that Fi is being affected by Radical 6, but she doesn't seem to act like the other people infected with Radical 6. Honestly, I feel like I could just fly right now. Hell, I almost wish there was another bomb so I could feel this again. Isn't this great? Vi? Hey, what's going on? You're really harshing the vibe here. Would it really kill you to smile? We just saved everybody. Oh, also, not that I need it or anything, but it sure would be nice to get a thank you or something. Oh, thank you, Sigma. You're the greatest. You're so awesome. I'll dress up in that swimsuit for you just like I promised. Yeah. It's weird that Sigma did show this part of his personality of being kind of a lecher, to use a big word there. That definitely feels very Japanese, and it feels way worse added to the story than even Jun and Junpei's relationship in the first game, because at least in the case of Jun and Junpei, they actually did care about each other and had a pre-existing relationship. Also, I think in the first game, Jun and Junpei were a lot more realistic Japanese young people who would be too embarrassed to actually say there's feelings, where Phi and Sigma come off much more like what a Japanese person I think would think a promiscuous Westerner would be like. And being willing to have dirty jokes and make sexual promises of wearing swimsuits, which even that is still kind of more of a weird fetish than realistic. I mean, just the swimsuit thing would be fine, really, but it is kind of surprising there isn't a pool in this warehouse. If you were going to really stock it, that would be one thought. There's no like gym, there's no pool, there's archives, which maybe is supposed to be a library, but it didn't feel like all those books were really entertainment reading. There doesn't seem to be a kind of TV area. You could go to the lounge and drink at the bar, and that's about it. It seems like you could have built out a facility like this better if you were going to try and keep people happy. Frankly, you'd almost have to do something like the Nonary game and the chromatic doors just to have regions where there are areas that don't even get unlocked until like a month into living in the warehouse or a year into living in the warehouse. Like, you could easily make a like 60 floor warehouse and say, in the next 60 years, if you live that long, once a year a door will open and there will be more food, more resources, and more things, surprises to discover. Of course, you couldn't really make a video game around that, because by the time even 10 or 20 years had gone by, people would have probably gone crazy and they'd been too old to run around like they have in this game. Are you even listening to me?
You said you wish there was another bomb, right?
Well, I mean, I don't really.
I hope you're happy. You're going to get your wish.
So Phi apparently just jumped from a different timeline than any of the timelines we've been on, at least so far, because we have not seen another bomb. What?
I remembered something too. Just a glimpse. We must have confronted Dio about the bombs. I'm not sure how, but we got him to tell us about them.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was that timeline. So does she not know where the zero bomb is? So in this timeline, we did escape with Dio, and he told us the number 0 password, but he didn't tell us where the bomb was.
I've planted 4 bombs. They're the ones numbered 1, 2, and 3, but there's also one more.
Oh, there was also a timeline where he said that, I guess.
Bomb number 0.
I'm not sure we saw that timeline. I felt a cold shiver run down my spine. Suddenly I remembered it too. I heard Dio say those very words on the floor of B warehouse. No way.
Looks like you remember it too.
Yeah.
How much time do we have?
4 minutes. Boop. We've only got 4 minutes. It's interesting that they use the number 4 here when so many other places they've intentionally not used the number 4. Remember, in Japanese, the number 4 sounds like the word death, or is written like the word death. I don't remember which. And thus, they often don't want to have even mention the number 4. And that's why in almost every single countdown, it is gone 10, 9, 8, and then there's been some kind of distraction, and then it goes to 3, 2, 1. Also, that just saves time, so that's helpful in other ways.
Well, hurry up. We need to get to the zero bomb.
Right. Where is it? I yanked the input device out of the bomb and turned to chase after. What are you just standing there for? Go, show me where the bomb is.
What? Are you telling me you don't know where it is? You have got to be kidding me.
How the hell would I know where the bomb is? Oh, poop. You don't know? She bit her lip and nodded. Damn it. What the hell are we supposed to do now? We can't deactivate the bomb if we don't know where the damn thing is.
Calm down.
It would have
Just
been
calm down.
great to climb up to that area and place the bomb. Nobody would have found it there. But also, it probably would have taken too much time.
You need to think, Sigma. There has to be a clue somewhere. Pretend you're Dio. You need to hide the bomb. Where would you hide something important?
Hide something important.
Right.
Hide. Is it between the AB rooms? If I was Dio, where would I hide? That's kind of the only place he hid things, is between the AB room. And we've hit the to be continued point. And see, last time we played, the game had been running for nearly 150 hours. So we're at 162 now for how long the game has been left running. Where's number 0 bomb? Okay. So it would be insane, I think, to do... I mean, you kind of would think maybe you're supposed to go here and see DONs. But that gives you the bomb 0 number deactivation code. Okay. So let's jump here. And then I'm just going to have to look up what the password here is, because there's something I've forgotten, obviously, as far as the password that I should know. Let's see. So, search virtues, last reward, password, computer. See if we can figure it out that way. Okay, well, this is weird.
There's no one here.
So apparently you needed to have seen Sigma and K's ending, I think. That's what I think I saw here. I'm trying to scroll down. They have it in the same thing. Alright. The computer is used in Luna's route when Sigma and Phi investigate the director's office. The username and passwords are both found in both Sigma and K's ending. So, the password is The username is that password. Oh, I have that written down. I just forgot about it. And there's a whole bunch of dashes and dashes. Alright, well, I feel stupid now. I must have been falling asleep, frankly, when I was trying to do the password. The username and the password are right here. I wrote them down. I had them. I wrote even here two-headed lion to remind myself. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, maybe deal.
Alright, let's go ahead and just skip. We don't need to see any of that again. So yeah, that's just some great ABS on my part. So it's GTF. Yeah, you would never get these. But you would also never get the bomb codes. DM. I might as well just check to make sure I type in the right password. Anyways, L016. L016. And let me just double check. GTFDM L016. Yeah. Which really has me questioning then the Akane card and the password there. Where did that come into place? See, do we even have a way to see Akane's? And yeah, the jumpy doll, that seems to yet have not played a role. Alright, well, put in the other password. MIL IL KEV OLI. Let me just make sure. And the password was told by K in the K ending. So who gets specific codes and who's telling the codes to specific people seems to not really have been indicated. And while I see the word milk in this password, the rest of it seems to be mostly just randomized. And who knows what's behind this password. Like, I don't even know really what... Oh, that said accepted instead of complete. Interesting. I don't even know, like, as far as the flow and the timeline, what's going on here. Like, we have the security and then the AB game, and we allied with everybody every single time in this point. And if we had allied, then somebody else must have escaped. But I don't know who specifically would have escaped. Probably Dio, if I was to guess. ... Here we can see a picture here with a whole bunch of letters and numbers that I suspect don't mean anything and is just gibberish. Although there is a phrase in the left side, lower left side, Captain Kidd, and then below that says about 225,000 pieces, and then below is 25 cans. And there's some other phrases that look like it. There. Phi, come over here.
What's wrong?
I got in.
What?
Did she just punch? Did she just punch the computer on accident? That's a weird sound effect. Yeah. I don't know. Now remember, in this timeline, Phi and Sigma haven't really realized that they can remember other timelines. So, this is going to be very confusing to everybody. Also in this timeline, I am infected with Radical 6, and it seems like this is the only timeline where I show symptoms of being infected with Radical 6. I don't know. I just knew it.
What the hell do you mean you just knew it?
I just knew it. Means I just knew it. You gave me the same line when I asked you how you knew my name.
Why are you bringing that up? It doesn't have anything to do with this.
You sure it might?
What? I don't...
Are we gonna get any flashbacks now? Look, just forget about that. Come on. Come take a look at this.
Sure. Fine. Just let me get right on that. Are you out of your damn mind? Tell me what the hell is going on here.
It's funny, in this timeline, Phi is demanding answers.
Why do you know how to log into this computer?
Are you even listening to me? We continued to yell at each other for several more minutes, but no matter what Phi asked me, I could never come up with an answer that satisfied her. I guess maybe in this timeline we are not going through a white door, or the director's office was a white door, but then wouldn't the security office been a white chromatic door place? I don't know. Like, do we have star cards right now? Could we be playing an AB game? Or is the Nonary game already over? Eventually she seemed to give up.
Fine.
It'd be funny if the computer like locked itself due to inactivity and you forgot the password, or you can only use the password once.
You still don't make any sense, but I don't think you're lying.
Damn right I'm
And the
not.
AB game deadline isn't getting any further away.
So yeah, they're still waiting for another AB game.
All right. Let's see what this thing has for us.
So
Where are we
nobody
supposed to start?
escaped yet.
Looks like there's tons of stuff in here.
Hmm.
Oh, can you tell me the ID that you put in? I can try searching for that. Maybe we'll get a hit.
I gave her what she'd asked for. GTF DML 06016, which I don't think that means anything to me. The search returned several files, and after examining them for a moment, I opened one. Oh, I guess this might be a golem. Golem unit details. Are these product specifications for a golem? Now, Sigma shouldn't, I think, in this timeline, know anything about golems. Like, did we go to Golem Bay? Yeah, we did. So, this is the one point where golems are apparently actually going to play a role in this story.
Looks like it.
So, was GTFDML016 a golem's
Don't
idea?
ask me.
Okay. If that's the case, then the password and username could have been given to you by a golem, although it seems like a different golem.
You seem to know more about all this than I do. Fine, whatever. Just read the file. Maybe it'll make more sense. Let's see here.
It's Luna. Which, okay. That would explain a decent amount, and it would also explain how this is Luna's end, which is to say Phi's end is over here, and it took me till just now to realize who Luna was again, because I really thought this was going to be Phi's end. So Luna's a golem, a particularly small and meek looking golem, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're all golems. Luna has done literally nothing physical to indicate that she was a golem. She hasn't made any decisions in any of the AB games, which might explain something, because she's following the laws of robotics. She literally explained the laws of robotics to us. So she could have never made a decision that would have... Well, let's look at the laws of robotics here. This is oddly going to become prescient. Although it's not really prescient when the writer wrote it backwards, and you know that they did. A robot must obey orders given to it by human beings. She definitely has done that. Robot must protect its existence and if it doesn't conflict with the first two laws. And the number one law here: may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. That makes it feel like there's never been a scenario, and this is where the real question would have to come around here. And then there's zero law. And see here now we know who 16 is. But 016 did act within the zero law. May not harm humanity or through an action allow humanity to come to harm. So the question here, is there a timeline? And it would be practically impossible to figure this out without playing the whole game over and being aware of the endings. Was there any timeline where Luna was paired up with somebody who almost certainly not Sigma, where that person betrayed and Luna let that happen? I don't think that's the case. I think if there was a scenario where she was paired up with most likely Dio, and Dio tried to betray somebody and kill somebody, then she would have probably attacked Dio and stopped him, and not even maybe known why she did it. I also feel like she might know that there might not be actual tuberculine in a lot of the bracelets, only Soparil, so, or that the bracelets do have tuberculine in them, but they don't actually inject. Also, since she's a golem and she was the only one using the atom is now less trustworthy. Let's just keep going forward with the story. ... Luna.
Yeah.
Why is there a picture of Luna in this file?
There's something written underneath it. It says, appearance after application of ABT.
ABT. We'll have a flashback now.
It is this special artificial biological tissue what's called ABT.
I don't know why they didn't just have Kay's voice actor voice this character Golem. Golm. That seems unnecessary, frankly. And did we ever see a password that was GOLM as in a login? I don't think we did. But we did see a login used by Phi, which might also be a Golem ID. She might be a different series of golems, though, since she starts with a K.
When a golem's all new and shiny, they've got a nice suit of ABT over that metal skeleton. Makes it look right human, it does. Even feels like real skin, with pores, a little bit of hair, and a few pimples, scars, and the like. Truth to tell, I doubt you'd be able to tell the real from the fake, even if it was right in front of you.
So when we hear the backstory from Luna that somebody gave her this music box and told her to chase her dreams, basically, how does that integrate into these revelations? Does it, or does it not matter? Is that just yet another bit of characterization and backstory that is in the wrong place. All the characterization and backstory for most of the characters should have been at the very beginning, even if they were straight up lies. You could have easily had every character tell themselves, introduce themselves to the rest of the class, as it were, and give these long backstories, explain who they are and what they're doing and where they're going, and why they think they might be here, or just like their virtues, their morals, their perspective on life, things like that. At the very beginning of the game, just as a getting to know you aspect, could have easily been in the top flow. Give me like one extra novel section here where all the characters introduce each other, and then at that point have Zero Jr. interrupt and make them choose a chromatic door, and then we could have better related to a lot of characters and at least known the archetype that these characters were being written to, were supposed to act to, instead of getting very little of that at the beginning, where we're just told Kay has amnesia, Dio says nothing about himself at the beginning, Quark says nothing about himself throughout the entire game, Clover and Alice act suspicious as spies, Sigma says really nothing about himself, and Phi says nothing about herself throughout the vast majority of the game.
See, right in the middle.
And see, that was the point when Zero
I see.
Jr. shut off Golem.
Luna was a golem, and DML016 was her product ID.
Was her? Did she die in this timeline? Does that then negate caring if she dies? Really? Is she always a golem in every timeline, or do things change drastically in these alternate realities? Was Luna the one who potentially kidnapped everybody and knocked them out and put them in the AB room? Possibly. That must have been what Golem was trying to tell us when he was stopped. But why? Why would Luna be in the game?
I don't know how autonomous she really is, but I find it hard to believe she would have come here of her own free will.
So you're saying she was sent here by Zero Senior?
Probably. Look. At the bottom of the screen, it shows her current status.
Currently operational. Executing special mission. You think her special mission is to participate in the game?
Probably.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were 2 Lunas that showed up. So why did Zero Senior want a robot as a participant? Maybe to fill out the numbers, because there actually aren't 9 people here. There may literally only be 1 or 2. You think maybe it was to supervise the rest of us? Maybe it was, maybe if something unexpected happened, she was supposed to correct it or something?
Some kind of Voight-Kampff test.
Voight-Kampff test. Alright, now we're going back into sci-fi theory. What?
It's from an old book. A test to see how human she was. Whether or not 8 people would be able to figure out she was a robot.
That would kind of suck if that's the entire purpose of the Nonary game, is to just see if you could make humans think the robots were humans, so then you could potentially repopulate the world. And I don't know, unless these robots can have babies, maybe they're just there to keep enough people happy so people would start to be able to thrive more, and robots running around populating the planet might allow you to increase the amount of resources so people don't have to work as hard, and then they can be happier and make more babies.
That might almost explain the whole game, actually. Making us solve puzzles and play the AB game. All of those things could have been designed to give us a chance to see her true nature.
So it's kind of like the Chinese room.
Yeah. Luna is the girl locked in the room, and the 8 of us are the people outside it. Well, like I always say.
If that's the case, then I kind of have to question Phi, if she's not a golem, and that explains why she keeps talking more and more gibberish. Is she someone who literally doesn't even speak English and is just remembering responses or bringing responses into her mechanical brain to say? It's just a possibility, right?
All what matters is if the person next to you does what a human ought. Looks like a person, acts like a person, and talks like a person, then it's probably a person.
When did you figure it out that she was a golem? I mean,
Right now. I didn't know until I saw this stuff.
you're lying. When I told you about what happened with GOLM in the pantry, you said something about how this game might be it's sort of like the Chinese room.
I don't know why I said that. It just felt like it made sense.
See, it almost feels like Fi only remembers things that happen in the same timeline, which I guess would just be memory. Maybe she remembers things backwards from other timelines, so she forgets more the longer the game goes on. Like you just knew it?
Yeah. Look, forget about that. See Luna's status?
Yeah, it says same thing it did a minute ago. Currently operational. Executing special mission. Whoa. Wait, what the hell? Luna's so she was supposed to be
Do you
dead.
think robots die? She was only injected with muscle relaxant.
10 minutes remain until Ambidex Game polling closes.
So we were just searching while we were waiting for the third game to happen.
All players, please enter your votes.
So
If no vote is recorded,
they failed to really look at that computer in detail. There's a whole bunch of files, obviously. And I don't know a great system to go through a bunch of files in a quick manner. Probably just open one in each folder and try to figure out which folders are the important folders and hope that whoever made the files is organized. Of course, Luna's the one who opened the AB gate.
That might not be the only thing she did. Look.
What do you mean?
What are the last 3 digits of her product ID?
016.
And where have we seen that before?
016 was written in blood on Clover's leg. This is, I guess, the timeline where we found Clover and Tinmoji handcuffed to the sink in the infirmary. No, I don't believe it. Are you saying it was Luna who handcuffed Clover and Tinmoji?
We should go check her body. You remember where it is?
The crew quarters, of course, I remember. Yeah, so I think in this timeline everybody else has died, but we may also find out that everybody else was killed by Luna specifically to hide the fact that or not to hide, but to reveal the fact there might be golems. But I guess nobody ever cut Luna, so we never saw if she bleeded white or red. And her body is obviously missing here. ... We were right.
Yeah.
So who would have even injected her with the Soparil? Why? Why would Luna?
And I trust him.
5 minutes remain until Ambidex Game polling closes.
Let's go. The game hasn't stopped. If we don't vote, we're going to get penalized.
Right. Off we go then. See, I don't think that anybody else is even alive. Once again, we're going to the far left door with the star cards. if Luna is our competitor, we should betray for sure. There's no point of
Invalid
worrying.
pair detected. Please retry with valid partner.
Oh yeah, forgot about this thing.
Right. Luna's bracelet.
Yeah, with her bracelet, there's 3 in this room. I stepped outside and set Luna's bracelet down, then headed back into the AB room. So if I'm holding Luna's bracelet, then Luna could certainly run behind us and grab the bracelet. Although, does Luna really need to betray or ally at all? If she's going to kill people, why use the AB game to kill people? It's really questionable why she's killing people in the first place. It feels very out of character. Alright, I'll go ahead and hit the start button. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
And they always show you this just so you have one tiny bit of interaction. Wait.
Sigma.
Huh? So there's Luna in a what looks like custom animation, although frankly this is just a model of other poses we've seen zoomed out further. We get to see her full dress, which is nice and all, but it's not going to reveal much. Luna. Oops, I hit auto there.
1 minute remains until Ambidex Game polling closes.
So the big question here, do we ally again? Or do we not trust her and then betray? And we're going to have to see both endings anyways. So not even really worry about it. Wait. What the hell's going on? Why is Luna
She's
here?
probably planning on participating in the game.
You mean she's going to take the bracelet and go into the other room?
Yeah.
How's she going to vote? Also, if she is a robot, why did the bracelet come off? Do the golems have heartbeats that stop? Yeah, feels like her bracelet could have come off at any point.
Betray. I'm sure of it. Why else would she have come here? If she wanted to vote ally, she could have just waited for the deadline to pass.
She's got 7 BP, right?
Yeah. Why are you asking, though? Her BP doesn't matter right now.
What?
Have you totally lost it? She doesn't have her bracelet on. And besides, she's a golem. She isn't trying to get out.
Are you sure about that?
Whether she has 9 BP or not doesn't mean anything to her.
Then why is she doing this?
Isn't that obvious? She wants to keep our BP below 9. Say she defaulted to ally.
Yeah, if we all allied, then it seems like everybody who's left alive would have 9 points. Which, that would be interesting.
We could choose whatever we wanted, and we'd still get 9 BP. She's here to make sure that doesn't happen.
10 seconds remain.
But this puts you in a bad position where
Closes.
if you either betray to maintain your 7 and forever betray to maintain your 7 BP at this point, or hope that the bracelets reshuffle themselves in the next round, or you just ally.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
This time they actually say 4.
And I trust him.
I trust him.
1.
That time they skip 3. Well, let's just see what ally does. Vote's been recorded.
Round 3 of the Ambidex game has been completed.
This, I believe, is also the timeline where maybe Kay and Dio are dead also, that they had been axed and speared, respectively. So, we may not know where Cork is, or he's in the treatment bay, maybe. And Luna killed Kay and Dio, which might be understandable because they weren't trustworthy. Like, she literally may have killed everybody simply because they betrayed, which would also make an argument for killing Quark. It would also make an argument for killing Clover. It would also make an argument for killing Alice. It would also make an argument for killing Sigma, because he's betrayed in at least one ending also. And Phi is betrayed in one ending. So if she can remember every alternate timeline and she kills off people based on their votes in alternate timelines, her actions might be slightly more justified.
Results will be displayed in the warehouse.
Of course, the other thing that would be the surprise here is that the door just opens and Luna's standing right in front of you, and she just grabs you by the throat and lifts you up off the ground and starts strangling you with one hand, and then Phi runs to try and stop her, and she grabs Phi with the other hand and lifts her up off the ground because she has huge golem strength. And then you just both get your necks snapped.
Thank you for your participation. Ambidex gates.
Although I doubt that would be an ending that we would see. It would be very interesting to try and turn Luna into a very scary character from being the very unscary character she's been up to this point.
Are you insane? Why the hell did you choose Ally?
Wait, we can talk about that later. Right now. Run to the number 9 door. She's gone. Where'd she go?
That's odd. We came out the moment the gates opened.
And all the gates opened.
There's no way she could have left already.
Then there it was. I thought so. She didn't pick it up. Why is that bracelet say 7 now? I thought they assigned points as soon as the gates opened. Apparently not. Without the bracelet, how she couldn't have voted.
Then she let the system vote Ally for her?
It is very possible also Luna is a golem but doesn't know it, and she's just extremely confused and frightened. Or that the computer is just straight up lying. Or that there are actually 2 Lunas. One is a robot and one is a real human.
Please direct your attention to the results screen.
That potentially opens up a mess, certainly, if it turns out that there were golem versions of a lot of these characters, and very often people like Quark may have gotten kidnapped and replaced, and only in the timelines where you see them actually infected with Radical 6 is there even a possibility that they were human. Right, then write the results.
Let's go have a look.
It feels like in this ending you're just gonna all 3 escape. There's nobody else left. And we got down to 1. Just Phi. Clover and Quark dead. Kay and Dio dead. And Alice dead. And Luna and Phi and Sigma dead. Interesting, they threw a whole new art image here of skulls. Quark had 9. And at some point he was killed. I don't know when. Don't know when Clover was handcuffed to Tinmoji. And so Quark probably was dead or missing before that point. Maybe we never saw if they were dead. And then Kay and Dio are dead. I assume in the rec room. Alice is stabbed in the chest. So 6 down, 3 can leave. No reason to play anymore of the AB game.
Points have been assigned or subtracted accordingly.
And it feels like at this point the game should just say, you've all won. The number 9 door is now permanently open.
Please check your bracelet to see your updated bracelet points.
And we are a magenta pair. Since Luna didn't vote, she got set to ally automatically. The other 6 got penalized. Here are some more AB game rules for you. Not voting is not an option. I guess we got proof here that that's actually true. If both parties refuse to vote, then everybody gets penalized. Everyone who doesn't vote, obviously. In other words, one person out of every color group of 3 has to vote. Then again, 5 of them are already dead. So, who isn't dead? We don't know where Quark is, but his bracelet's already off. Oh yeah, because his bracelet came off or was removed by maybe Luna in the treatment facility.
Yeah. That means all those penalties are meaningless.
Yeah. So 4 people might survive.
Why did Luna show up then? I mean, we've got our 9 BP now, but...
Maybe she was trying to help us escape. It'd be funny if they checked the time and there was a countdown, but I don't know why there would be a countdown. There's no more doors.
Alright. What do you want to do, Sigma? Do you want to leave?
What? You're kidding, right? Weren't you the one who kept going on about how Quark's still alive? I can't just run off and leave him here.
You sure?
Yeah.
Well, that's a relief. I was hoping you'd say that. Now let's get moving. We need to find Quark.
So I guess we were looking for Quark, and that's why we kept running around in circles to the director's office and other places. And Luna too, right?
The Ambidex gates have closed. Round 4 of the Ambidex game will be the star round. Star keys are required to open the gates.
So we get confirmation that the star keys could have been used over and over again. She's a red solo. I am a magenta pair. I don't think our colors could match to anything. Fawn and I checked our bracelets out of sheer reflex. I was a magenta pair just like before, but Fi had changed to a red solo. Didn't really matter though. Both of our bracelets showed the number 9. All we had to do was open the number 9 door, and we never have to play another AB game again.
Alright. Quark comes first. Let's go.
She spun around and headed for the cyan door. I followed on her heels. We do have a possibility here where this is just going to take a very long time as we get more revelation of story. Yeah. They didn't find out too much here as far as about Akane. So I wouldn't really be surprised if this just actually expands even further and keeps on going down. Dot 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 dot. Still don't get why they would have bolted over certain doors like that. That seems like an unnecessary detail. It would have made a lot more sense just to say that the entire facility was designed once and for this purpose, and there was just a very limited number of doors and pathways because of that. Yep. K gets axed, and we couldn't take off his armor in that case. The golems are in Golem Bay, which oddly they aren't. They aren't visible in any other timeline.
Sigma, there's something I want to ask you.
Now, did we give the cure to Quark for Radical 6, or did we just put him in the treatment facility in this timeline? Do we even have the Axelvar? What is it?
There are 3 doors here.
Yes.
You, Alice and Luna went through the one on the right.
Yeah,
That
in
took
that
you to the
timeline.
Golem Bay, correct?
Yes. According to the map, that's the door on the bottom. There's a lever on that thing in the middle, right? We pulled it, but it only opened one of the doors. What about it?
Take a look.
2 doors are open now.
See the lock?
Open.
Yeah.
Then who the hell opened it and
There's only
how?
one person who could have opened it.
Must have been Luna. Does Luna how I would like to know, does Luna open the doors? Though. And if Luna opens the doors because she's a golem and she pulls the handle, then that still doesn't really explain why so many different timelines had you going through different doors like this. Unless the revelation you're supposed to take from this is that in every timeline here where you ended up at a different escape room, you were with a different golem that opened a different area, and maybe only one of these was a human-only grouping. But I've already jumped the gun there, and I already suspect that potentially everybody, including Sigma, are golems. Luna.
All right, let's head in.
Okay. And this should go to the treatment facility. What the heck are these things? So they never even found the treatment facility in this case.
I think they're treatment pods of some sort.
Well, how did they find and remove Quark's bracelet if they didn't find it in the treatment facility? That's a weird question. What mint pods? Even as I spoke, part of me knew what they were. I didn't know how or why, but I felt a strong sense of deja vu when I looked at them and suddenly realized I knew exactly how to operate the pods. It was strange, unsettling feeling as somewhere deep inside the version of myself that I did not actually know.
One of them is lit up.
The one on the left, is it being used?
Glass is all fogged up. I can't really see inside.
Let's crack it open then.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless Luna stepped out of there. We're assuming it's just gonna be Quark. ... Quark with his hat. No bracelet. So somebody must have put him in the treatment pod, and removed his bracelet, and that must have been Luna, because it can't really be Zero Senior, because we think Zero Senior is the old lady. So that's real weird. Like, we don't know the real reason for that, other than perhaps it was just a act of charity, or maybe that Quark was never supposed to be a participant in the AB game in the first place. Quark. Yeah, I think in this timeline we never even discovered that he had Radical 6. Why are we running? Our feet pounded across the floor of the warehouse. Pant. So they just grabbed Quark, and I guess they don't even know about the Radical 6 in Quark, so we're basically condemning him to die of disease, and pretty much condemning themselves to die of disease if they leave. You're not really solving the problem outside this world at all by just leaving. Not that they knew there was a problem outside in this timeline to even try and resolve. And here you have a custom animation. Once again, seems unnecessary. Quark's body bounced in my arms as I ran. His pulse and breathing were normal. He was limp and unconscious, but he was alive. The pod's display had given us a little information on his condition. As far as we could tell, he'd been given an anesthetic which put him to sleep.
Ready? What's wrong? You're supposed to say, yeah, sure.
Is it really okay for us to just leave?
What the hell is this? You want to stay here? What if Luna kills you too?
What?
Think about it. Alice, Clover, Tenmyoji, the old woman, even Dio and Kay.
It is kind of hard to not believe that in this timeline Luna didn't kill Dio and Kay. I mean, if they killed each other because they had Radical 6, that might make sense, but then Alice and Tenmyoji didn't feel like they killed themselves. And I don't think in any timeline anybody other than Dio killed the old woman. Well, actually, the revelation I think we found out in the last recording was that the old woman had Radical 6 too, and she killed herself, and Dio just stole her bracelet. Although we didn't get a real confirmation, we couldn't really trust Dio if he did make that claim anyways. They should have written him so he always made that claim when accused of killing the old woman, which should have happened at least 2 or 3 times.
There's a good chance Luna killed all of them.
But why?
Why doesn't matter. Remember what we saw on Clover's thigh?
It says 016, or it could say 910, and it could be that it was supposed to say 616 or 919, which I don't know if any of that really matters unless that was supposed to be some kind of code that we would use for something else. I don't even know what that would be.
And what's that the same number as?
The last digits of Luna's product ID.
Where did we find the old woman's corpse?
Let's go back and look at this other code. No, the code that Phi used doesn't have a 9 or 1 or 0 in it. Yeah. In the AB room that Luna came out of.
And if you're right,
Although they
Ray
moved
was
them
in the
around.
central computer core. That means she could have easily moved that crane, right?
I guess that's true.
She could have used it anytime she wanted.
It means any alibi she might have for not being able to move the crane is worthless.
Exactly.
Also brings out a question, if she could pick that up, would she then have just been able to drop it in front of the AB room that Phi and Sigma were in the last voting round? You could have basically trapped them in there and made them play over and over again.
She must have moved the AB room.
910.
Alice noticed it right away. At the very least, that would mean Luna had a reason to try and kill Alice.
To keep her quiet.
She could also have murdered Dio and Kay.
Somebody obviously murdered Dio and Kay. That you can't call that a suicide.
Remember their star keys? Luna must have taken them, which puts her in the room with Dio and Kay. You understand, don't you? I admit none of this evidence is conclusive. But look at our options. You, me, Quark, and Luna. Who do you think is the most likely to be the murderer?
So it'd be crazy if it turned out to be Quark or Phi. So you kind of have to think it is Luna.
Think this through, Sigma. Luna's a golem. That means she's a robot that's part of this facility, designed to do God knows what.
I also suspect that Phi is a golem.
What you said about golems and the central computer is true. She's basically a puppet of Zero Junior's. There isn't really much of an argument to be made here. The only option is to leave her here and get out.
Phi is constantly preaching betrayal, and while this isn't an official AB game, it is literally just another AB game. Do you ally with someone that you can't fully trust, or do you betray them out of paranoia?
Have you ever heard of the 3 laws of robotics?
Let's see, now we get a flashback, so this probably would have been this might have been a to be continued section. Because I guess, well, if it was a to be continued section, it would be black like this, and this would be lock number something, because that's lock number 9, and this is lock number 1. So unless it turns out to be lock number 0, way down here, I think you probably could have seen this section with not seeing the flashback, but maybe you couldn't get to this section if you hadn't seen this section, this other timeline first.
A robot without the 3 laws is just a bunch of metal and plastic.
So I wonder if Phi doesn't have the 3 laws and Luna does, and that's the difference between them if they're both golems. Okay, you're right. Let's get out of here.
Damn. Don't scare me like that. Okay, I'm going to open it. You ready?
You don't have to ask me. Isn't that what you always say?
Yeah, I guess so. It's time we got out of here. Let's go.
I feel like we're not going to get, even in this escape, I feel like we're not going to get the revelation as far as the lion eating the sun, the 2-headed lion eating the sun. With a heavy labored groan, the number 9 door began to open. As soon as the gap was wide enough to admit her body, Phi slipped through it. I followed her through, Quark still cradled in my arms. Inside was a massive lift platform, like the kind used to move industrial cargo. Phi turned to face me, and I shoved Quark into her arms.
Huh?
Before she could respond, I spun around and ran. So the bracelet falls off me, and I run back in.
The number 9 door has been opened.
So I'm running back in. And see, this is a point where I as the player, have no say in that at all. And didn't even think that was what was going to happen. So I'm surprised, and not particularly in a good way.
It will remain open for 9 seconds.
Sigma!
And here we have another flat, not animated image, and you can see kind of the problem here with what looks like a 10-year-old in Quark being animated a little too large, and Phi, who said she was like 22, being animated too small. Also, her knees are buckled and animated poorly with the polygons, with a few polygons.
What the hell are you thinking? Get back here!
Sorry, Phi. There's just something I have to do. Take care of Quark.
No. You don't mean you're going to go find Luna? God damn it, Sigma! Think about what you're doing. Sigma! Listen to me! You can't do this!
Apparently I'm doing it. In this case in particular, she can go get help. Like, Quark, like, Dio's dead, and apparently they never found the activator on Dio to move it away from him to turn on the bombs, and thus the bombs would never go off at this point. So, yeah, there's really nothing stopping Vi from going and getting help.
This ends the Nonary Game.
Assuming there is help outside, which is a big assumption.
Thank you for your participation. As the game is over, all doors other than the number 9 door have been unlocked.
In a funny way, it's going to feel like this ending is designed specifically to say, hey, allying will get you so far, but at a certain point you actually do have to betray, because the game has been pretty bad about saying that, giving that message, particularly if you wanted to just always ally. There should have been some early game over if you allied like twice in a row or 3 times in a row, instead of I would have potentially moved this whole branch over to this way, so that on the third one, if you're allied, you would just get a game over, and then on the second one you would get this extra content, and then you would get the, well, you need the password, and so you have to play other timelines, because that would have opened the door for it to be much more of a legitimate choice to betray in a lot of these timelines. By the time I was in the middle here and some ally choices ended up with dead ends, I still felt like I had to ally anyways, because it was revealing some piece of information or some code. It would have been nicer if you could actually speed run a game like this and not do some of these dead end paths and just skip over them.
Please enjoy your stay.
I had no regrets. In fact, with Vi and Quark's successful escape, I felt a profound sense of relief. 016910. Like, was the 910 supposed to be something about the graffiti on the wall on the second floor? We still really didn't get a solution that makes sense to me as far as what that's about. One of my objectives had been achieved and a difficult choice had been made. My mind felt clear and focused, more so than it had in a long time. Alright, time to go. Luna's waiting. And it's just going to leave you there, apparently. So you find her in the garden? Luna, I knew you'd be here.
You knew?
Oh, right. We hadn't talked here in this one, huh?
Isn't this nice? This is the only place in this whole facility with anything green. I kind of feel silly saying it, but it makes me think of the great outdoors. I think it's the perfect place for a serious conversation. Being surrounded by nature makes me feel happy.
So yeah, the one conversation you had at the end of Sigma's timeline with the cybernetic arms now gets flipped around, and you're going to have that serious conversation with Luna being a golem.
I'm not sure what you meant just now, but are you talking about something that happened in another history?
What?
I know what you can do. Someone told me about it once. They said that you have the ability to transport your consciousness through time.
Who told you that? Luna looked down at the music box around her neck. Carefully and delicately, she twisted the dial on the bottom.
Sigma, aren't you here to ask me something? Why I killed them, perhaps?
Well, actually, I already know you didn't do it.
Oh? Why do you think I didn't do it? I'd like to know your reasoning. ...
Alright. I nodded and took a moment to compose my thoughts. Might as well start with the old woman. There's no point beating around the bush, I suppose. Dio killed her.
Why do you think so?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that's the case. Her left arm had blood splatter all the way to the elbow, except for the stripe on the wrist that was perfectly clean. What could have caused that? My guess is a bracelet. It got covered with blood and kept her wrist clean. Obviously, none of our bracelets had blood splatter on them, but Dio's bracelet reacted to the luminol. That meant Dio's bracelet had to have come from the old woman.
Is that your proof? That's why you think Dio killed her?
No, that's not. That's only enough to suspect him. After all, he could have just taken her bracelet after someone else killed her.
Why are you so sure?
Because he confessed.
What?
After his bracelet reacted to the luminol, I confronted him.
Alright, fine. You called me, I did it. I killed the old bitch and took her bracelet.
See, he confesses, so I guess he does kill her in every timeline.
Wait, when did that happen?
In a different timeline.
Isn't that against the rules?
Against the rules, interesting. What rules? I hope you're not going to try and bring up Nox's 10 Commandments. I don't know what Nox's 10 Commandments are. Is that same as the biblical 10 Commandments? Is there no Christianity in this universe? Instead, a religion named called Nox? Does it really matter if it's against the rules or fair? The truth is the truth. Let's say that incident P happens, and after that the timeline splits into timeline A and timeline B. I don't think it's unfair to base a theory in timeline A on information found in timeline B. After all, A and B both came from the same place, P. If you trace their history of both timelines, you'd end up back at incident P. Now, if I could change what happened with incident P by visiting A or B, then yes, that'd be a different story. But that also seems like that is exactly what's happening, even though we're getting no explanation on how that's happening. I don't know that it'd be unfair per se, but it'd certainly be breaking some pretty big rules, like, you know, the principle of causality. I'm sure that Dio killed the old woman. By extension, that means you couldn't have killed her. I'm assuming Dio wasn't originally intended to be a part of the Nonary game. Somehow he got in and took the old woman's place, and that's how he ended up as Quark's partner. This is just an educated guess, but I have a feeling his plan was to replace one of us. I doubt it mattered which one. I have no idea why he would want to do something like that, and I don't know how he did it either, so he doesn't really know much. But the fact remains that he did. He hid in the warehouse on floor A and waited for someone to come out of the AB rooms. Then that someone turned out to be the old woman. She left Quark asleep in the AB room and came out on her own. Somehow he managed to get close enough to stab her. There we have an animation of blood flowing. Also, we're seeing again some custom stationary 3D models here. He did it near the wall with the graffiti on it. Okay, that might make some sense as to the wall and the graffiti on the first floor. I'm guessing he stabbed her from behind so that he wouldn't get any blood on himself. As soon as she was dead, he wrapped the knife up in the handkerchief. No, wait, actually, he probably took the bracelet first. Then he would have needed to wipe the blood off, so he used a handkerchief for that too. Anyway, the point is he got the bracelet and put it on. Then he wrapped the knife up and hid it between the rightmost AB room and his neighbor. He probably didn't expect that they'd move, or he'd put it somewhere else. After that, he headed back into the AB room and that the woman had left. Quark would have still been fast asleep, so as far as he knew, Dio was there the whole time. Well, how could the body have been moved with nobody else seeing it? That makes no sense. This does raise a few other questions, but I'll save those for later. For now, let's move on to the other murders. Well, actually, one of them probably isn't a murder.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about Alice. I'm pretty sure she committed suicide.
All of humanity is going to die. Adults.
See, once again, this feels like this could have been the right ending, as in the perfect ending, and it kind of isn't.
Children.
It's just a lot of dialogue. A lot of dialogue that's not really going to give us much characterization as far as Luna.
Everyone. There won't be anyone left.
A lot of screaming.
I'd rather die here.
This is a great example why I like most games to be very, very quiet. I don't want to have them blowing out my eardrums for overly dramatic writing. She'd been infected with Radical 6. The music box, by the way, has long since stopped playing. I think that infection caused her to take her own life. She used Dio's knife, which she found in the warehouse after the AB moved and exposed it. She took it with her and then used it to stab herself in the crew quarters. Next are Clover and Tenmoji. First question is who put the handcuffs on them? The clue is the message on Clover's left. The message Clover left, 016. If you think about it though, it doesn't make sense. Clover's left hand was in the handcuffs. That meant she would have had to write with her right hand on her right thigh. I feel like that would be really hard to do that, you know. I don't see any real reason. It's not, wouldn't be that hard at all. Although he may make a good point that it would be easier to write on the other thigh and cross over. Why not just use your left thigh? The thing is, I think she did. When she died, her legs slumped together and the message got transferred to the right thigh. Well, they did a really poor job inspecting her body then, which they probably did. So that mirrors the image and maybe only gets a bit of it. Also, a bigger question is how would she know the model number in the first place? We just never saw the original because we didn't bother to check the other leg. In other words, she wasn't trying to write 016. She was trying to write DIO. So Dio killed him. That's totally believable. With her dying breath, she was trying to tell us the name of her killer. Which certainly all of a sudden that means that they would have either had to have thought really, really hard about a name that could be mirrored into a number, or thought of this trick late in the development. Also, I suppose in Japanese, that you could certainly probably reflect the Japanese character to say something completely different. But maybe they didn't. Maybe it was always DIO was the name of the character. You kind of assume that some of that is the case because you wouldn't have characters in the first game named Akane and Junpei and have very, very Japanese names if the idea was you were going to localize the whole game and change their names again. Although they did turn Akane into June. Now about Kei and Dio. I think there's a pretty good chance Dio killed Kei. Is how I imagine it happened. Kei probably sprayed Dio's bracelet with the luminol. We found the bottle in Kei's robe. He wouldn't have seen the reaction immediately, but Dio would have known what was coming. As soon as Kei turned the lights off, it would be clear Dio had taken the old woman's bracelet. My guess is that he decided to take a preemptive action. When we found their bodies, the lights in the rec room were on. Maybe Kay turned the switch the light off, but Dio took the opportunity to attack him. Kay was hurt pretty bad, but he didn't die right away. He probably managed to grab the spear and stab Dio. And I guess that means the suicide pill and the bomb activator are all in his pocket, with also potentially the bombs in his pocket if he never actually planted them, or also potentially the bombs planted and they'll just be there forever. Maybe the input device is also in his pocket. Yeah, the real question is how the input device got in a save. Then he died. So that accounts for all 6 bodies, none of them your fault. This sounds more like wishful thinking than hard
Sigma,
proof.
I'm glad you don't think I did it, but all of your theories are just, well, theories.
It'd be funny if she just straight up says wrong.
Like Alice committing suicide. How can you be sure? Say she was infected with Radical 6. She could have been murdered before her symptoms even began to present themselves.
That's true.
As for Clover and Tenmyoji, I could easily have killed them. You don't have any proof that Clover's message was mirrored, like you say, or even that it was supposed to refer to Dio. Even if it did, that's not conclusive evidence of his guilt. The same goes for Kay and Dio. I could have killed them both. Why do you trust me so much? I'm a machine. I'm part of this place. How can you trust a machine?
And see, that seems like this is the whole test. Is can Luna convince people to trust her as a machine? And at a certain level, you kind of can't. Because basically, unlike humans, a robot with artificial intelligence can easily be programmed to effectively have dissociative identity disorder, DID, or split personalities. Let's just go with split personalities, that's easier to say. Like, you could easily have Luna have a hard-coded programming that cannot be stopped in her brain to tell her to kill people, and it then activates that part of her brain and has her kill people, and then it erases her memory and puts the other AI, the innocent, childlike, nice lady, I don't think, she's not really childlike, she's just gentle and sweet. Like, that personality could be in charge 90% of the time, and at any point, you could just flip a switch. This is why inherently humans don't trust people with split personalities, and people with split personalities often get demonized in stories and TV more than they really should, because I think there's very few instances of people with split personalities actually doing anything extremely violent or dangerous. I think there's a lot of people out there that just have split personalities that live 2 simple, honest, decent lives in one body. That's why I trust you.
What?
I trust you because you're a robot. Your robotness is just one more reason you can't be the killer. Well, 3 more reasons.
Have you ever heard of the 3 laws of robotics?
Lots of flashbacks. Rule 1. A robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being come to harm.
A robot without the 3 laws is just a bunch of metal and plastic. Sigma.
See, the thing she's going to say is I'm not bound by the 3 laws, and frankly, she needs to basically cut you or something. Just scratch you even a little bit to prove that. In a funny way, this also explains every other timeline when Quark is going crazy Luna won't inject him with Soparil until she is ordered by Phi, who I guess, if in that case that says Phi is a human and not a golem. Yeah, in every timeline we've seen that where Quark goes crazy and Phi orders her to get to Soparil and inject Quark, because even the action of injecting him or sedating him must count as harming him in some small way. But in a weird way, she would also, through inaction, being allow Quark to allow harm to come to Quark. So that's kind of the problem with the three laws, is that both scenarios are hard to process and quantify. Because had she just done nothing, which it seemed like she kind of was doing nothing, then Quark would have almost certainly stabbed himself with the scalpel. It might also explain, in that same scene, we see Tenmyoji just hanging to the edge and not doing anything until he's ordered to do something by Sigma to help stop Quark. There might be all kinds of scenes in this game where Sigma or Phi are ordering other people to do other things, and the robot people just obey. That would be an interesting revelation. Luna, I have to ask you. Can you tell me, well, everything you know? Your mind is in the central server. You should know everything that's happened here. There was a long pause. Luna stood up and walked deeper into the garden. I followed her in silence. I want to know what's buried under the tombstone, although I suspect it is just the zero bomb. Eventually, we reached the bench. Luna quietly sat down, and just like last time, I lowered myself down beside her.
You were right. I didn't kill them. How should I explain? Well, actually, you got most of it right.
That doesn't matter. Tell me everything. So now we're going to get everything explained.
First, yes, Dio did sneak into the facility. He used the large cargo elevator and came into the warehouse on floor A through the number 9 door.
Okay, well that's how he got in.
Since the game hadn't started yet, anyone could go through it.
Interesting. So, had people just not been drugged, they could have all left at the very beginning? That doesn't really sound like it sneaking. It sounds more like he just walked in.
I guess you could say that. He did get in pretty easily. But that's because Zero Jr. lured him here.
Oh. Okay. What do you mean?
Dio wasn't a surprise. Both Zeros knew that he was going to come.
So they brought him here?
In a way.
But why?
Because his presence was an important part of Zero's project.
What project?
I can't go into that right now.
So you're not going to explain the AB project yet?
Right now, let's just focus on the murders, okay?
This definitely feels like the timeline that is potentially just going to wrap up all these other timelines and say, hey, you don't really need to worry about the fact that so many people were killed. You've done that part of the story. It's no longer relevant.
Anyway, Dio found his way in. They made sure he didn't know that he was actually being let in.
So why did he come here?
To make sure Zero's project failed. His first step was to pretend to be one of the players. As for how he did that, you had it pretty much right. The old woman was the first one out, and he killed her under the graffiti.
So he did kill her.
After he wiped the blood off it with the handkerchief.
Interesting. So that's now confirmed. In every timeline, it seems like the old lady gets murdered. As in, Akane gets murdered, and Frankly, I couldn't care less that Akane gets murdered, even though she was the main character in the previous game, or one of the main characters.
Then he wrapped the knife up and hid it between the 5th and 6th AB rooms.
Do we really need to repeat everything that was just said? 5th and 6th.
Counting from the left in their original placement.
In other words, the rightmost room would have been the 6th room, and next to it would have been the 5th.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why you're going to throw out
He
numbering.
went back into the 5th AB room where Quark was sleeping. Then he just waited for Quark to wake up.
What were you doing while this was happening?
Nothing. I couldn't do anything. My body had been turned off. Zero Jr. had powered me down. My body wasn't activated until after Dio went into the 5th room. I couldn't help her. All I could do was watch while she was murdered. Everything in this place is controlled by Zero Jr. I couldn't try and prevent Dio from getting in either.
There's also an interesting point here in the fact that Zero Jr. as an AI is literally not following the laws of robotics at all, in the fact that they're totally willing to kill people and totally seemingly capable of killing people. So why put the 3 laws into the golems and not Zero Jr.? Or why not remove the 3 laws from the golems? Wait, if Zero Jr. controls everything, then he was the one who moved the 6th room with the crane.
Yes, that's right. Zero Jr. moved the room, not me.
Then who moved the old woman?
Me. It took me 10 minutes to get out of my AB room once I was turned back on. I ran over to check on her as soon as I did. Then I carried her back to the room I'd been in.
Why did you do that?
Because I was ordered to.
What? Who ordered you?
Luna, listen to me very carefully.
Wow. Talk about insanity to get the old lady's voice acting to show up after 90% of this game has been done, at least. That is just insane. Like, her voice actress should have been given something to say at some other time. Or they're just... I don't even know what you do there. I'd imagine the voice actress who's playing this character also played another character, but it's just so crazy to have Akane talk now.
As you already know, the final stage of the project begins in 2 hours. This will be the culmination of many years of hard work. We cannot afford failure.
Yes, I understand.
Then let's make sure. What is your mission?
Enter the Nonary Game as one of the participants and observe the actions of the other players.
We almost now know why this is a Nonary game in the first place instead of something else. It's because Akane was in the Nonary game and Zero Senior is either Junpei or someone else, or Santa.
Ensure that they do what they are supposed to and guide them down the correct paths.
Unless he's just a totally new character. Ensure that they do what they're supposed to and guide them down the correct path. Does Luna ever guide anybody? I don't think so. Nor does I think she ensure anything at all. Maybe she's the one that decides which doors open at the 3-way splits.
How many players will there be?
Myself and 7 others, ma'am. Will you be participating as well?
Yes. Our plan dictates that I must.
See, they kind of obviously know
An
that...
individual by the name of Dio will be entering this facility presently.
They kind of
He has
know the
been led
future.
to believe he is doing so undetected. You've been briefed on him already, correct?
Yes.
So she's in the director's office.
He will murder the first person to leave one of the AB rooms and take their place. If a pair is the first out, he'll probably kill both of them. That's all the information I've been given on him, ma'am.
So I guess they kind of had to ensure that she was the first one out as a solo.
Is there a problem?
With all due respect, ma'am, I would like to state that I don't feel right about this. We know someone is going to be killed, and we're just going to let it happen? I also have doubts about the use of Radical 6.
Interesting. So they know that they're going to infect people with Radical 6, and it seems like Luna, through inaction, can cause a human to come to harm. See, this is kind of the problem with the laws of robotics. The right response here would be, since she knows that Akane is planning to let somebody die, Luna is effectively, through inaction, letting someone die. So Luna would logically say, I've got to stop this whole AB game from even starting, so I've got to make some plot or plan to stop it that very possibly involves knocking out Akane and locking her up somewhere. The most logical response I think you'd probably find is Luna would have, before even the AB game started, have locked the doors and locked, permanently trapped everybody in the facility.
Are you sure? Infecting all these people with such a horrible disease.
That is none of your concern.
Once again, through inaction, she's letting someone do harm, and this is where Akane would have had to directly order Luna to allow Akane to infect people with Radical 6 and kidnap them and allow somebody to be murdered.
Your only concern is to follow your orders.
But
Luna, I am giving you an order. I am in command, and you do as I say.
No animation here, so no lip flaps or anything as they talk.
You are programmed to do as I say. You know this.
yes,
There might have been an interesting story here if we had been shown kind of this flashback before, and then the reveal is actually Luna isn't a cyborg. She's just been brainwashed to think she is one.
Good.
There's an anime kind of like that, I believe, called Key the Metal Idol,
Now, I have one final order.
where it'd be a bit of a spoiler, but it suffices to say someone thinks they're a robot when they actually aren't.
another order, ma'am?
Yes. When you leave the AB room, the person Dio has killed will still be there. I would like you to move them
Where?
to the room you are about to enter, the 6th AB room.
But why?
Not your concern. As a participant in the game, you must have as little knowledge of it as possible. That is why I have made sure you are unable to access any classified data. There are things you must
Yeah, see,
not
they
know.
definitely painted themselves in a corner by saying Luna would have been tied to the facility, and the fact that Luna could have known a lot of things in a lot of timelines that would have spoiled surprises
In order for
if
this
she could just
project to
blurt out the answer.
We need you to be as close to a clean slate as possible.
Well, at a certain point, then why not just give her that split personality I was speculating on, that you could program into a robot to make her move the body, and then have her completely not know that she's a golem slash robot at all. Make her go through this entire game thinking she is a human with a false backstory and everything. I guess it was Akane here that actually gave the necklace to Luna. Makes me wonder if a necklace in the previous game that Akane would have had. I don't think so.
There are some things you already know, which ideally you would not.
But it is a very on the nose obvious analogy that Luna is the caged mechanical bird that sings.
Unfortunately, this is unavoidable, so you must refrain from divulging anything you know about the project to the other participants. You must never tell anyone what you know about Dio, or the body, or that you carried it to the 6th AB room. You will have to pretend you know nothing more than the rest of the participants.
Of course, she's divulging this information now.
Is that in order?
Yes. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Really feels like Zero Senior should have shown up.
I went into the AB room as I'd been told to.
The male Zero Senior should have shown up more, but maybe the hologram we see is actually just a fake animation, and Akane has always been the only Zero Senior. Maybe the man, the father, who was supposed to be the leader of the project, maybe he died a long time ago, and maybe Kay replaced him, and then they erased his memory.
As soon as I stepped inside, my body deactivated. But since my brain is in the main computer, I was still awake. So I still saw everything. While I waited,
This is gonna
I used the security cameras to see what was going on in the rest of the facility.
taking forever. Also means that Luna probably could have used the security cameras at any point to watch people. You saw the old woman being murdered.
It was hard. What I was seeing made no sense. Several of my higher level processes nearly failed. To think that she would be the first person to come out. I think she knew that Dio was going to kill her. When she'd said she had one final order for me, I didn't understand what she meant. Like a fool, I told her I didn't approve, when I had no idea what she was prepared to do. When she died, whatever I have that passes for a heart felt like it snapped in two.
Yep, and we're back to this side profile stationary image. ... At least we didn't have the waterfall effect playing throughout all of that. I think I understand. Everything you did because you had been ordered to, and it was the old woman who gave you those orders. Then is she Zero Senior? No, she isn't. What? But if she gave you the orders...
She did, but she wasn't the only person I took orders from.
There was someone else? And that person is Zero Senior?
Yes. We worked together to develop the project she mentioned. So I suppose technically my orders came from both of them. And they were both controlling Zero Junior too.
Okay.
I told you before that Zero Junior moved the 6th AB room. Although that's strictly true, he didn't do it of his own free will. They ordered him to do it. He was following orders just like me.
I really don't think there's a point here where I could care about Zero Junior. It's not like we're gonna download him to a hard drive and walk out of the facility with him. And frankly, he's just been such a non-character in the back half of the story of every timeline that any kind of characterization or growing to like him cannot possibly have happened. But why?
I don't know. I really don't. Maybe they did it so that people wouldn't suspect me.
If they didn't want people to suspect you, then why have you moved the body in the first place? Eventually we figured it out that the rooms had been moved and that she was in your room.
Maybe they wanted the opposite.
You mean
Maybe they wanted you to suspect me.
that doesn't make sense either. If they wanted people to suspect you, why move the room?
Then maybe they only wanted certain people to be suspicious of me.
You mean like Alice?
Yes. Perhaps they wanted Alice to find the handkerchief and the knife. explain why they moved the room.
Yeah, the only explanation I can get from this is that they literally knew all the events that would occur, and they were manipulating the events so that they would occur in a certain way. Possibly they know all the events that occur in every single timeline, and they're manipulating all the timelines and all the events in the different timelines so that I end up where I am right now, having seen all the different endings and all the different possibilities. So they somehow knew Dio would hide the knife there.
Yes, I think so.
But how? How could they know that? You might as well just give them magical powers
Alice
at
did
this point.
notice that the room was moved, which meant that Clover also figured it out. And just like you said, Alice used the knife to take her life. Clover didn't realize that, though. Or perhaps she didn't want to. In any event, she decided that I must have killed Alice to keep her quiet. So she confronted me.
And I guess in this scenario, since she's a robot and can't harm others, she would have just let her
Right after the
attack.
second round of the AB game.
Just let Clover inject her and kill her.
Using Phi's timetable, that would be 0 hours, 0 minutes.
Wait. You were listening to us in the security office?
Yes. That wasn't all I was listening to, though. I know everything that happened in the facility after my body collapsed.
You were watching through the security cameras? It's funny to call them security cameras. You might as well just call them hidden cameras because they are hidden.
Yes, I was. I could see and hear everything.
There is a problem certainly with the security room in the fact that it seemingly only shows you like 9 out of 12 secret rooms and misses 3 more of them.
Anyway, we're at 0 hours, 0 minutes. I was in the hallway on floor A when Clover found me and took me to room 2 in the crew quarters. We entered at about 0 hours, 1 minute.
Do we really need a full timeline breakdown here for something that I don't even remember because I didn't play all the way back from this point, which would have added hours to this rerun?
She was very forceful.
I know you
This is
killed
kind of a
Alice.
great example of
Tell me the truth.
why
Let
the
me
branching timelines concept fails, because you jump around and add confusion when you should be striving to not add confusion in your story.
Now fess up. I'm only gonna give you one chance. If you lie or try to play dumb or something, I'll kill you right in front of her.
I told her the truth, of course. I explained that I hadn't killed Alice, that she'd been infected with Radical 6, and it had caused her to kill herself.
And in this timeline, Clover didn't believe her.
I was never going to believe that, though. We argued about it for nearly 9 minutes. It wasn't just Alice she asked me about. She asked me about the murder of the old woman and about the AB room being moved. She wasn't very nice about it. But I couldn't answer any of her questions.
Because of your orders.
Then, at about 0 hours, 10 minutes, she must have run out of patience. She stuck her hand in her pocket and started moving toward me. She backed me up against the wall and pulled her hand out of her pocket. She was holding the injection gun.
And then here we have an animation
I
of
tried to take it away from her.
a few frames again. And this is just, once again, very awkward animation, very badly done. On a 3DS even. Frankly, a lot of these Game Boy and 3DS games, the graphics never looked good, even when they were brand new games. And arguably, I would say even some Nintendo Switch games these days still feel like they're a generation behind in the level of graphics compared to their stronger PC and console counterparts.
I even screamed for help.
But Nintendo, at least, has mostly convinced its third-party developers and its first-party developers definitely have figured out how to take the power of making a Nintendo cartoony game look good and not try to have games that look realistic with lots of detail. This is a great example of someone trying to make a game look realistic and not having the budget or the skill to do it.
She refused to let go, of course, while we were fighting over it.
So here's another problem with her being a robot. If she was following the 3 laws, at any point, any little action could hurt Clover. She could let go of the trank gun and Clover could fall back, bash her head on the back of the floor, and potentially kill her by accident. She could pull forward and sprain a finger, break a nail. Anything there is actually hurting a human due to your action. So if a robot was really programmed to follow the 3 laws, she would literally just stand there and not do anything and just let herself be killed instead of fighting over it. So the story is really just making an argument that she doesn't follow the 3 laws, which, okay, that's fine and all, but it kind of makes it pointless to have even thrown that out as a possibility. You could have easily said like one sentence where you said that I have not been programmed to follow the 3 laws, or the 3 laws don't work. Well, hold on a minute. The trigger got pulled in the fight. I get that part. What I don't understand is why it did anything to you.
Because I'm a golem?
Yeah.
One of my orders was always to act like I was one of the players. A human. Any human injected with that amount of tubocurarine would die.
So, maybe that's why she fought back, is because she was acting like a human and following orders. But that's not how the laws work. Like, the laws aren't follow orders except when the orders conflict with the first law. Not the other way around. So you couldn't order Luna, interestingly enough, to act like a human and potentially fight back like she seems like she had just done, because that would be violating the first law. Also, I just noticed that there is no space after the period for law number 2. I don't think that means anything. I think it's just a typo, but also speaks to a level of quality. They should be a lot better as far as making sure your writing and your typing is good if you're going to make a visual novel. Like, visual novels are already fairly cheaply made. The last thing they need to be is even worse because of spelling errors. That's why you died, to keep up the facade that you were human.
No, I collapsed because Zero Jr. turned off the power to my body again. He probably felt he had to. Maintaining the illusion that I was human was probably in his orders too. So to make it look like I had died, he turned the power off. Whatever the case, it was an accident. I don't think Clover ever intended to actually kill me. She only took the injection gun to try and threaten me.
How can you be sure?
When I collapsed, she looked terrified. She checked for my pulse and listened to see if I was breathing. She also shook my body and called out to me several times. If she'd meant to kill me, why do all that? After a few moments, she ran off to the infirmary to get the AED.
You mean the defibrillator? Yeah, it's funny that this is the only timeline in which anybody tried to even use that.
Yes.
It uses an electrical shock to restart the heart, right?
Correct.
Actually, it doesn't. It uses an electrical shock to stop a human's heart, which would have taken all the bracelets off of everybody. The human's heart restarts on its own, hopefully, after that shock. It's a cold, hard reboot of an organic organ. They really shouldn't have put the AED, the defibrillator, in the story at all. So that's why she left. At 0 hours, 11 minutes, 40 seconds, Clover left the cabin in the crew quarters.
She ran off toward the infirmary. On the way, she bumped into Dio. Yes,
Dio?
I guess she just saw him, really. They didn't talk. She just ran past.
And you just watched her go by?
Yes. I imagine he was curious, of course. He probably wondered what she was doing. But he chose not to go after her. He had something else to do.
He's planting the zero bomb, and I guess in this case, we might very well be told where the number 0 bomb is. At 0 hours 12 minutes, Dio enters the room.
He seemed pretty surprised to find my body.
This is a really late point in the game to explain a scene that I kind of don't care about at all.
It didn't
Yeah, I
take
bet.
him long to get over it, though.
Wouldn't imagine it would. What did he do then?
He'd gone there for 2 reasons. One was to get Alice's bracelet, which was a blue solo.
Right? Without it, Dio and Kay, the yellow pair wouldn't be able to get through the secondary door, right?
Yeah, but he couldn't find it.
Of course, Vi had already taken it by then.
But there was something else he wanted to do, too. He was there to take the knife. Removing it was gruesome.
But why did he want the knife? Was it because he used it to kill the old woman?
No, I don't think so.
Then what do you think?
I think he didn't want anyone to see the engraving on the knife's blade.
Yeah, they really never addressed that.
He hid it so well after he killed the old woman.
Why would he want anyone to see that? Why wouldn't he want anyone to see that?
Do you remember what it said?
It's kind of ridiculous for a secret organization to have their name engraved into the knives.
There was a word engraved on the blade.
That's ridiculous. Myrmidons?
Yes.
What does Myrmidons mean? See, if you're going to have a special knife that was engraved with the name of your secret organization, that's the kind of knife you would have in a glass display in your office, in your secret headquarters. It's not a knife you would keep and use.
It's the name of the organization he belongs to.
Oh, what is it? Like a club or something?
I don't think so.
Well, what is it then?
I don't really know.
No idea.
Afraid not.
Wait, wasn't he here to try and stop whatever Zero was doing?
Yes.
Then, wouldn't that mean he's on our side?
I don't know about that. He's killed 4 people. I'm not really sure he's on anyone's side.
You've got a point. Damn it, this is ridiculous. I guess this enemy of my enemy isn't my friend. Hey, huh?
May I continue?
Man, this is slow. Yeah, keep going. Like, a story like this, frankly, needs a lot more visuals to help speed up the text part. Like, a picture is worth 1,000 words, is the old saying. And in a visual novel like this, yeah, I can definitely see that. If there was just some almost comic book-like depiction of what's going on and less talking or faster talking with less pausing. After he took the knife, Dio rifled through what few belongings Alice had. Luna said he didn't seem to be looking for anything in particular. He was probably just checking to see if she had anything useful. That was where he found the key to Kay's suit. He didn't seem to have any particular reason for taking it, at least as far as Luna could tell. At 0 hours 13 minutes, Dio left the room.
He heard Kay opening the sign.
And see, now we're just getting more text without voice acting.
When he left, he was heading toward the infirmary. My guess is that he was going after Clover. He found her with the AED. She was probably planning to just ignore him and head back, but Theo didn't let her.
Hey, wait. Just what are you planning to do with that thing? Thinking about trying to resuscitate Luna? And why would you want to do that? You were the one who killed her, weren't you?
It would be funny if they tried the AED and it turned out it doesn't work, and it's like the secret place where there's like a number 9 bracelet or a key to open all the bracelets or something like that. In a funny way, it almost feels like there should be some kind of system where you could take one bracelet and put it on top of another bracelet and maybe transfer points from one person to the other or unlock the bracelets. When Clover tried to push past Dio, Luna said they began to fight.
The fuck do you think you're doing?
Dio quickly pulled a knife out of his pocket and pointed at Clover's throat. That was when he showed up. Guess that would have been Tenmyoji.
Dio, what the hell are you doing?
Who had the handcuffs, though, in this case? Did Dio find those also? Because there were handcuffs in the crew quarters, and seemingly they only get used in 1 or 2 timelines.
None of your goddamn business. Stay out of this, you senile old shit.
Like hell, you son of a bitch.
Now we're just boiling down to cussing. He leapt out of the year and leapt toward Dio. The young man dodged him easily and lashed out with the knife. Tenmyoji caught Dio's hand with a grunt, and for a moment the two men struggled. Then, as the knife edged closer, he wrapped his other hand around the blade and tried to force it away. But Dio was a much younger and stronger man, and the wound Tenmyoji gave himself with the knife didn't do him any favors. He put up a valiant fight, but with a roar, Dio threw him off, and Tenmyoji collapsed to the floor. Pant, pant, pant.
What are you going to do?
Let's see. About this.
And he punches her, one assumes in the stomach, or karate chops her in the back of the neck.
How cute. You two really look great together, you know?
What are you going to do to us?
Isn't it obvious? I'm gonna handcuff you to a sink. Actually, I already have.
Are you going to beat us to death or something?
No, nothing so tasteless.
What are you going to do then?
How'd you like to make a bet?
A bet?
You've got, 20-some minutes until the primary white doors open. So I'd say you've got 25 minutes until they close. Give or take. If somebody happens to come by here before the doors close, you might live. But if nobody finds you, well...
We'll be penalized.
Yeah, it's, once again, terrible to say that they use this key phrase penalized. They should have just said murdered, killed.
Exactly. So, I suggest you start screaming for help now. Unfortunately for you, just about all the rooms in this place are behind at least 2 nice thick doors. So unless they're pretty close, nobody's gonna hear you scream.
So he just leaves them.
I'm off to the Floor B warehouse, okay? Enjoy your last 25 minutes. Later.
It feels like a good system probably could have been developed for everybody to go to every
5 minutes
room.
passed and no one came.
But I don't know how many people were even alive at that time.
Of course, by then there were only 3 other people who could have come, apart from Dio.
You mean me, Phi, and K?
Yes, you were in the crew quarters at this point.
Yeah. Kay had told us about you. We also noticed that the knife and Alice chest had been removed. If only we'd known what was happening in the infirmary.
Unfortunately for Clover and Tenmyoji, their time had come. Once the primary white door closed, both of their bracelets injected them with Soparil.
The anesthetic, right?
Yes, almost immediately they started to feel sleepy. I think that's when Clover realized she was definitely going to die.
Once again, crazy that you have to make a game that kills so many people.
That was when she decided to leave her message.
Honestly, you could have eliminated the part about the bracelets killing people. Instead, you could have just had it be that they get injected with sleeping medicine and they sleep for the next 24 hours. And then it would be the decision every time somebody got 9 points to open the door and leave with other people without waiting for everybody to wake up. It then would be in the hands of only that person who betrayed the rest of the group.
Just as you said, she wrote on her left thigh.
There is
with
a
her right hand.
there is a just extremeness to this Nonary game, and same was true in the previous game where it was a life and death scenario when there's not really a great indication of why it's a life and death scenario. The word she wrote was Dio.
Yes.
I can't help but feel like this is just a preferred decision to animate her in hot pants and show off her thighs, which is really nothing to show off there. It's just a round polygon. And in the flashback where it's black and white, you lose all the detail of the butterfly colors. If it wasn't Clover and it was a male character, they would have just had her, the male character, write on a piece on the floor and then have it transfer, or write on their pants, their slacks, and have it transfer over.
Well, I guess I don't really need to tell you. Your theory was essentially correct. What you said was what happened.
Thanks. Save me some time. So Kay sprayed Dio's bracelet with the luminol, and then while his back was turned, Dio attacked him with the axe. Yeah, that's still gonna repeat it, but this is a much faster way to do it. Dio mortally wounded him, but it didn't kill him. So Kay turned around and stabbed Dio with the spear. I guess that's when we found them.
Yes.
When did Kay get the luminol?
After they went through the white door, Dio and Kay found themselves in the director's office. When they were done there, they headed back to floor A to look for everyone else. They went to the crew quarters first, then to the infirmary. Of course, they found Clover and Tenmyoji's bodies there. Dio expected to find them, of course, but he pretended to be shocked. Kay checked them over for anything useful.
And Kay didn't see the Dio marking either. And that's when he found luminol.
Right.
It almost would make sense here if Dio specifically positioned Clover's thighs to transfer it over. But honestly, if he was going to do that, then his name should have just been longer than Dio, and he should have been able to wash off or add blood to change it. It would have been fairly easy if Dio had a last name and it started with the letter O, and it was the letters for initials, as in D as in dog, O as in octopus, and he added the I in the middle, or added it 9 at the front. And yeah, if those in the Japanese version of this game are Japanese letters that he changed, that would make more sense. But doesn't really change much. Like, none of this really matters in my book anymore. It's just like, let's just rush through here, get the answer to where the zero bomb is, and solve
Everything that happened.
solve the game, get the perfect ending, and be done with the first 2 Nonary games, and probably 6 months to a year from now play the third one, which hopefully would be a lot better. And the third one's kind of a spiritual successor. I don't think it actually is labeled as a Nonary game. It's everything that happened.
Questions?
If anything, the third game might be a soft reboot, which a series like this probably could benefit from a soft reboot quite a bit. Well, what do you think? Does a bear poop in the woods? Well, the first thing is Quark's bracelet. Why was it in the infirmary?
Tenmyoji had it. Then when Dio attacked him, it fell out of his pocket.
But why did Tenmyoji have Quark's bracelet?
I told him where it was.
When?
Do you remember when you were in the rec room with Phi and Tenmyoji?
Yeah. When you sprayed us with the luminol, right? Sure, I remember that.
Right after then. When he left the rec room, he went toward the green door to look for Quark. I ran into him at the end of the hallway, where the 3 doors and the switch are. That was when I told him.
See, it feels like Luna literally just exposes herself to suspicion at the drop of a hat.
Look, Tenmyoji.
Although maybe in this case she was more discreet about
The
it.
center door is unlocked. He took off through it without another word.
That was the treatment room, right?
Yes,
Where Quark was sleeping.
right. It only took him a moment. As soon as he saw Quark, he ran to his pod and started crying.
Out of relief, right?
Yes, the display on the pod showed Quark's vital signs. It was obvious he was alive the moment you looked at it. Next to the pod was Quark's bracelet.
Not in the pod in this
That
timeline.
was how Tenmyoji got it.
Why was Quark's bracelet off?
Took it off.
How?
Aluminum foil.
Oh my goodness. Is it literally gonna be that simple? What? You mean the stuff from the crew quarters?
Oh, you found it?
Yeah, there was those aluminum foil sheets.
Did you know that aluminum foil has electromagnetic shielding properties?
Oh my goodness. Is it literally that easy that you just had to wrap your wrist around some aluminum foil and stick it in between the bracelet? What?
Here's an exciting fact. Your heart creates a bunch of faint electrical impulses.
Huh. Well, you would think Zero Jr. would have then tried to punish Luna here and at least shut her off and stop her from doing that, but seemingly they didn't care.
Anyway, the point is that you can detect the electricity that your heart makes by pumping blood. Your fancy little bracelets pick up on that. They're always watching.
Wait, so you're telling me the aluminum foil can block the electromagnetic waves your heart sends out?
Yes. All you have to do is wrap it around your bracelet.
And the bracelet thinks your heart has stopped.
Yes.
Oh, so it's not even sliding it particularly under the bracelet so much as the idea that the bracelets are sensing through the air the electromagnetic waves that your heart makes from your chest. Holy poop. It was that easy all along? This is quite the revelation, but it just doesn't feel like it would matter.
Anyway, I used some aluminum foil to get Quark's bracelet off. Then I put it next to the pod.
Huh. Wait, why was Quark in the pod to begin with?
Oh, that's easy. I put him there.
When did you do that?
Remember when we were first looking for Quark? I found him unconscious near the entrance to the Golem Bay.
So you carried him to the treatment pod?
Yes.
Were you the one who unlocked the treatment center too?
No, I was not. I do not have the authority to operate any of this facility's machinery.
Okay, so how does the door get opened? So it was Zero Jr.?
That's right.
He reactivated your body too, right? Man, I don't get any of this. Why the hell did he do that? Guess it wasn't really him that did it, huh? He was just doing what Zero Senior and the old lady told him to do. Everything leads back to them, huh? Hey, of course it does. She's not answering questions there. You're just speculating. We're now animating and flipping between different scenes for some different visuals. So you're gonna tell me? Isn't it that obvious? Tell me what this project is. Everything that happens here has something to do with it. So why were we brought here?
To play the Nonary game.
And why were we supposed to play the Nonary game?
That was part of the project.
Why did Alice kill herself?
Because she was infected with Radical 6.
How did she get infected?
Zero Senior and the old woman did that.
Why?
It was a necessary evil. It had to happen for the project to succeed.
So did they individually infect certain people, or did they infect everybody? What would have happened if Alice hadn't committed suicide?
Clover wouldn't have suspected me, and she wouldn't have accidentally killed me.
Then what?
I wouldn't have collapsed, and Dio wouldn't have found my body. That would have meant the confrontation in the infirmary never took place.
In other words, you're saying Clover and Timioji died for this project.
Yes.
Well, actually, it was the tuberculin that killed them. But they were only injected with it because of their bracelets. And they were only wearing those bracelets because of the Nonary game. If the Nonary game was part of the project, then that's one more way it killed them.
I guess, if you want to look at it that way.
Now what about Kay and Dio? Why would they kill each other?
Because Dio killed the old woman. He was worried about getting caught, so he tried to kill Kay before he could find out the truth.
Then if Dio hadn't killed the old lady, what happened in the rec room would have never taken place, right?
Yes.
See, it's like this ending is trying to explain to you that this ending over here could potentially have happened, or a perfect ending somewhere across these could have happened where nobody killed anybody. So let me ask you this. Why did Dio kill her?
So that he could pose as one of the participants.
And why did he do that?
Disrupt the project.
Then why did she let him kill her? Good question.
The same reason they did all of this. It was a necessary evil. The project couldn't be allowed to fail.
So the sad statement here is she's saying the project succeeded because all these people died. 6 people died here. 4 of them were murdered, one way or another by Dio. At first it makes it look like Dio's the reason they all died, but that's not true, is it? All of them, all 6 of them, they all died for this project. That means the murderer, or I guess I should say murderers, were the old lady and Zero Senior, right? At a certain point you can just continuously go back and blame everybody, because then you could blame people who influenced power or influence over the old lady and Zero Senior. You could blame their parents, you could blame their grandparents, you could just go back to the beginning of time. That's the problem with cause and effect. At a certain point it just never ends. What is this project about? Who is the old woman? Who is Zero?
Sigma.
This is going to be funny when she goes, "You're Zero Senior."
Would you hug me?
What? And here we have a custom animation again that is a flat 2D animation, not a 3D animation. Also, this gives a nice close-up on the ridiculous shirt that I was wearing this whole time, where there's a picture of a woman in a silhouette, and it says bad and safety, and it has 3 hearts and an anarchy sign on. It really is a ridiculous outfit, unnecessary. At a certain point, I guess the clothes would have had to been refabricated over and over again also. if this is 100 years in the future, like I think it is, but maybe it isn't. Maybe they never decide to pull that trigger. Instead of answering, Luna wrapped her arms around me and buried her face into my chest. Feels like she's gonna get shut off before she can answer. My arms hovered in the air, confused about where they should go. I swallowed hard and tried to rein in my heartbeat, which had suddenly doubled. I was about to speak when I felt something warm on my chest. Was Luna crying? Which, at a certain point, yeah, human-like golems that can cry.
This feels nice.
Her voice shook as she spoke. I lowered one hand to her head and began to gently stroke her hair. Hey Luna, what the hell is going on?
Sorry. My ABT is usually held in place by muscle fiber.
So her ABT is falling apart because of the injection? Seems like a delayed reaction there.
But after Clover gave me the tubocurarine...
Okay, I get it.
Does it scare you? This is what I really look like.
So now her face is cracking, and I feel like we're gonna get another flat 2D animation. This is a great point to show that they had the artists and the ability to draw flat 2D images and should have just stuck with that.
Just a machine. A jumble of metal and plastic that pretends to be real.
Wrapped my arms around Luna and hugged her as tight as I could.
You believed in me this whole time.
Yeah.
Even though I look like this?
Of course. I trust you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
See, if this was the good ending, and this all was just a project about you trusting a robot, I don't know how this cures anything or solves anything in the outside world.
I wish I could stay here forever.
Like, because at best all this means is they would take the data that they've learned and the memories of Luna and implant it into a bunch of other golems and have them like leave the facility, and a whole bunch of Luna-like copies would wander the world.
You feel so nice.
Maybe with different appearances. It would be weird if there was just hundreds of copies of Lunas. What?
I've done things I really shouldn't have. Do you remember what you asked me earlier? About if Zero Jr. had reactivated my body? Remember? The truth is, he didn't. I did. I went to the part of the core that controls Zero Jr. and I hacked it.
That there's always this inherent flaw with programming AIs that can hack other AIs. I imagine we probably will hit that point if we haven't already in the real world, but it is going to be fairly ridiculous. What?
Yes, that was the first thing. The second. Do you know what the second one was? If I had really wanted to, I could have saved Clover and Tenmyoji. Then Kay and Dio probably wouldn't have killed each other. That's not all. I could have stopped Alice from killing herself, and I could have even saved the old woman at the very beginning. In other words, I had the ability to disobey my orders.
Yep. Well, that the weird. We're getting her ending, and her ending seems to wrap up saying, "Oh yeah, I could have disobeyed my orders at any point, so I'm as guilty, culpable of these crimes as anything else."
But I didn't. That's the second thing. I broke the first law. I was scared. I was afraid to die. Obviously, hacking the core and taking control of Zero Jr.'s systems is very, very bad. Golems who don't follow orders can become dangerous, so we're terminated if we disobey. You lose access to your body, of course, but everything that's stored in the core, your memories, your consciousness, is deleted.
What? Wait, are you saying...
Yes. Very soon now I'll be gone. Zero Jr. is probably recovering himself right now.
This might be the explanation as to why we haven't seen Zero Jr. in the back half of the story, but that also kind of implies that in every other timeline where Luna isn't killed, which there's a decent number of those, she potentially also hacks Zero Jr. and shuts him down. Or she doesn't, and Zero Jr. just never shows up anyways.
Once he's done, I doubt I'll be around much longer.
What? Why?
I watched 6 people die and did nothing.
And you can see her face is cracking more now.
I deserve this.
No. No, you don't. Even if you had done something, you would have never been killed. You would have been killed anyway. You can't blame yourself. You did what you could. You're not wrong. This game is what's wrong. Forcing you to watch your friends die is what's wrong.
Oh, Sigma. Thank you. I'm really glad I met you.
This is oddly an argument towards, like, giving an excuse towards self-interest and cowardice in my book. It doesn't feel like a noble thought pattern for sure to not really hold Luna somewhat culpable for standing by, particularly if she can disobey orders. Although it could also be that Sigma is just lying to her to make her feel good, and I could get that. Suppose it's worth remembering that the name of this game is Virtue's Last Reward, and perhaps in this instance, this is Luna's virtue as being rewarded. Luna, it's gonna be okay. I'm not gonna let them do this. It would be really questionable if the Zero Bomb was inside of Luna. You're gonna be fine, I promise. Just please don't.
My time's up.
At a certain point, you have to also be suspicious here. Since Luna knows that Sigma has the ability to jump to different timelines with his consciousness, is this literally just another manipulation part of the project to make you become like more infatuated with Luna, and thus you'll protect her and do the things that the project wants you to do?
At least I get to die in your arms.
And there definitely is a danger of creating a scenario like the Nonary Games where everything is so controlled and so manipulated that you could drive a person into just full-on conspiracy theory paranoia, at which they will just not ever stop questioning anything at all. Luna.
Thank you.
For her skeleton to be the same size as the other golem, I feel like she's either going to have to be a smaller model or she's going to have to be very, very compressed. It says slightly gory, I suppose, but since it's not a human being, I guess the Japanese game creators are happy with that.
Sigma. And goodbye.
But also, they've spent 4 or 5 different images here showing the face crumbling off.
Doctor.
She also said she had a medical license, and I guess that's just a straight lie. Because I don't know how Golem would have a medical license unless all golems just by default have medical licenses by some stretch of the description of having a medical license. Doctor question mark. So she called you doctor, but she couldn't answer. Squeezed my eyes shut and held her until unable to bear the thought of letting any more of her slip away. It'd be probably a pretty squishy, gooey mess for someone's artificial tissue to fall off a skeleton unless the tissue dissolves very quickly or something. With one last quiet chime, the music box wound down. I was left with nothing but silence and the cold pool of tears over my heart. Are we going to get a final image of what she looks like? No. Okay. Now what? Alright, we have one more path. Otherwise, we're in big trouble. If we don't get told where the zero bomb is in this alternate path where we betray, then we are... I'm gonna have to just look up the answer. Alright, so we'll go back here, jump back this way. And I guess since you actually jump in the timelines, you are basically like Junpei and Jumpy. Like that would be a decent nickname for a character like Sigma. And maybe I am a jumpy person who is also a doll, and maybe that's a hint.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this time we're just gonna betray.
Wait, Sigma.
Same thing. We see Luna, but her bracelet's off, so you can betray all you want. So in a funny way, unless this were a case where she put the bracelet back on, and you would have done better animating this, showing her putting the bracelet back on. Also, if she knew she could take off the bracelet with aluminum foil, then why didn't she take off everybody's bracelet? Yeah. Hmm.
1 minute remains until Ambidex Game polling.
I feel kind of dumb that the solution really was aluminum foil. That we could have taken just a big roll and wrapped it around our wrist and seen what happens. Wait, what the hell's going on? Why is Luna here?
She's probably planning on participating in the game.
You mean she's going to take the bracelet and go into one of the other rooms? How's she going to vote?
Betray. I'm sure of it. Why else would she have come here?
Yeah, we don't get a real explanation of that.
If she wanted to vote ally, she could have just waited for the deadline to pass.
She's got 7 BP, right?
Yeah. Why are you asking, though? Her BP doesn't matter right now. Have you totally lost it? She doesn't have her bracelet on. And besides, she's a golem. She isn't trying to get out.
That does seem to be the case, that she never does seem like she can even care about leaving. She probably can't survive without a recharge fairly often. So there may just not be any life for her outside of this facility at all.
Whether she has 9 BP or not doesn't mean anything to her.
In the other timeline, she called you doctor, which then lines up once again as a bit of evidence to suggest that the theory that Sigma is actually Zero Senior. I think that is the case. I think
Isn't that obvious?
there's a decent chance Phi and Sigma are just the latest generation of clones that have been either put through Nonary Games or they've just been made once again.
She wants to keep our BP below 9. Say she defaulted to ally.
If she did betray and kept everyone below 9, that would give her more time to talk, certainly. And it would keep more people in the facility if she was going to be selfish.
She's here to make sure that doesn't happen.
10 seconds, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Even if she did put the bracelet back on, though, it's not like it would kill her. Not just because she's a golem, but because she has 7 points. So betray is the more obvious point here. They definitely wanted to make it seem like you should betray in this final round. And they tried to make it as easy as a player possibly could. Although, frankly, to get down this path, you would have had to work very hard, and you would have almost certainly had to see a couple of other endings, which would have required you to betray. And this path just feels like it's the always ally path, and that seems like that's something that should have always been the case in a lot of timelines. I'd almost prefer for the AB games to not matter at all and not be the branching point. I would like it, frankly, if first one you vote ally or betray, it doesn't matter. You go down this path, and that's that. And they just kind of never mention whether you vote ally or not. Or the game just forces you to betray and rewind once you get to an ending, instead of actually leaving it up to you to jump to a new timeline or just hit the B button and reset the game from the very beginning. Luna, where's Luna? Leapt out the door and ran toward the AB room she'd entered, but she's gone. Where'd she go?
That's odd. We came out the moment the gates opened. There's no way she could have left already.
Then there it was. No, she didn't take it.
Doesn't make sense. Why would she show up just when we're about to vote? There was no reason for her to come here if she was just going to default.
Maybe she wanted to talk to you. Or maybe she needed to be in this room to hack Zero Jr. I don't think I'd believe that was the case. I think she just wanted to talk. Right, the results.
Let's go have a look.
It'd be funny because you betray, you don't go to save Cork. Yeah, it doesn't seem like that changes anything. Just changes your score.
Have been assigned or subtracted accordingly. Please check your bracelet to see your updated bracelet points.
I guess there just was no other scenario where somebody didn't vote in some group, so we didn't see these skulls. These were, I think, the skulls in the previous game also that would show up on the bracelet with the red and dead switches. But there definitely were scenarios where characters were dead and they would still just show a number.
Since Luna didn't vote, she got set to ally automatically, and the other 6 got penalized.
Yeah, do we need to go through this part?
5 of them are dead already. Yeah.
We still don't know why Luna showed up, though. There's no reason to come here just to abstain.
No guess at her reasons, but I'm sure it was part of some plan.
A plan for what?
So what do we do now? Whatever Luna's scheming, we still managed to get 9 BP. Do you want to leave?
No, we can't. We still don't know if Quark is safe. No way I'm leaving before we find him.
I agree. I hoped you'd say that.
So that doesn't change. So are you gonna stay?
Of course. Let's get moving.
She spun around and headed for the cyan door. I followed her on the heels. So my only guess here is that we're going to kind of quickly find Quark and then quickly leave. And then this timeline, the Sigma is not going to bother to look for Luna and just leave with Quark and Sigma. Quark and Sigma. No. Sigma and Phi and Quark. And maybe they find the number 0 bomb outside of the 9 door? I find that hard to believe, though. Because if the number 9 bomb is outside the door, then what does it matter at that point? We pretty much boiled everything down to it's either buried in the botanical garden, which we visited the botanical garden quite often, or it's hidden somewhere in the archives or some other place that is just going to be randomly picked. Could be in the lounge. Oop, he's not here either.
This is the last room. Well, the last room we can get into.
So in this timeline, we can't get into the treatment facility. Who is opening these doors then? Is it Zero Jr.? Or is it just random fates? And we haven't seen Luna either. Where the hell did she go? We were standing there trying to decide what to do next when we heard a familiar voice echoing through the facility.
The number 9 door has been opened.
Well, apparently we just screwed ourselves there. She saw the score because she was connected, or she just saw the results on the screen, or saw the results on the bracelet, and decided since Sigma and Phi screwed her, she was going to screw them and take Quark out of the facility. But how did she get to the treatment facility in this timeline if that door is not open?
It will remain open for 9 seconds.
There's no way you're going to get to the number 9 door in 9 seconds. What?
No, that's not possible.
What's not possible? But she only bit her lip and said nothing. Then all too soon, it was over.
The number 9 door has closed.
So this might be the one timeline where all the doors unlock now, and because of that, we are able to find the 0 bomb, because we'll actually still just be looking for Quark. And in a funny way, I guess maybe Luna just left without Quark.
This ends the Nonary Game. Thank you for your participation.
In some crazy way, she might have been under orders to do that, or she may very well have just wanted to trap everybody in the facility to not leave her,
As the game
or to
is
protect the
over,
people.
all doors other than the number 9 door have been unlocked. Escape is not possible. Please enjoy your stay.
What just happened? It's all over now, isn't it? We're stuck here forever.
We should go back to the Floor A warehouse. I need to know if the door actually opened or not.
With that shoes off, yeah. With a sigh, I turned to follow. I suppose it would be believable that Luna might be able to just hack the announcer and have them make that noise, play that sound announcement. We can't just look at the door and tell if it was opened or not.
True. But the projection should tell us.
What? Status game finished. Result escape complete. Participants successful. Luna and Quark. How did she know the projection would tell us? We've never seen the projection give any final status before. Yeah, you would have thought they could have added that to any timeline where we lost, but it didn't happen. Luna and Quark escaped.
So it would seem.
Why? How? Almost if on cue the screen flickered. And Zero Jr. appeared. Oh, so we do get to see him in one timeline, in only one timeline.
Well. Long time no Zero. Remember your old pal Zero?
You.
I'm guessing somebody's hoping for an explanation about what the dealio just happened.
Sure, explain.
Because we're such great friends, I decided to make an exception and descend from on high to give you the 411. Aren't you happy?
So what's this explanation you've got?
Well, let's start with little Quark. He was given an anesthetic that put him to sleep. While he was out, Luna carried him through to the other side of the number 9 door.
But how did she open the door?
With Quark's bracelet, you silly bunny. It was still in the infirmary. Remember? Luna just hopped over there and picked it up.
So I was right. Quark had 9 BP when the second round ended.
But wouldn't Quark have been penalized? I guess maybe the bracelets work if they have 9 PP, even if someone is penalized. Interesting. So that means that you could have given another player who is closer to 9 points the 9 points regardless and still used it to open the number 9 gate. I don't know if that really changes much, but that seems very weird. It feels like it would have been better writing to say, if you're penalized, your BP goes to 0 permanently. But didn't he get penalized after the 3rd round?
Yes, he did. But a penalty can't take away your points. Just your life. The wheels popped out and so on, but the points stayed the same.
So Luna took Quark to the door.
And since her bracelet was already off, she wouldn't have suffered the penalty.
No, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Oh, right. She's a golem.
Alright, I think my tape is through.
Okay, well, I've got some questions for you, buddy.
Not you.
Now we're back to Japanese puns. Translated poorly to English.
Good thing you guys don't have questions for V. That guy's a jerk.
For V. Who's V? This isn't the alphabet.
You must be feeling pretty good if you're able to joke around like that. I mean, 6 people just died here. It's not really a big deal. That's just how you humans are, after all. So, as long as you make it, nothing else matters. Am I right?
No, you're wrong.
Don't screw with us.
It's cool. It's cool. I know you gotta act tough. I mean, you chose betray. That means you don't trust Luna, right? Figures. She's a golem. She might even be a murderer. That's why you were planning to leave her here and bone out, wasn't it?
Dot 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 dot.
It's all about you. Haven't you thought about how sad you made Luna?
What?
Looks like my time here's just about all used up.
Wait. I still have questions for.
I won't wait. I don't like waiting.
Interesting. Zero doesn't like waiting.
I waited once, and some half-witted reptile got the better of me because of it.
Half-witted reptile. Who would be a half-witted reptile?
I learned to make sure to value my time.
Oh, this is a reference to the tortoise and the hare. I don't know how that integrates to anything though. The idea that Zero thinks he's the rabbit from the story, the tortoise and the hare.
Tortoise and the hare.
Alrighty then. I'll see you when I see ya.
See, maybe there was a clue in that to go find that book.
Have a nice trader.
And we get one last ending there. This trader. Few long moments, fine. I just stared at the spot on the wall where Zero had disappeared. Where had Cork been? Who had given him the anesthetic and why? We had no idea who killed everyone, and Zero Senior's identity, as well as the purpose of the Nonary Game, remained a mystery. As for our futures, what are we supposed to do now? I hadn't meant to say those words out loud, but they were.
The tortoise won because he kept going even when it looked hopeless.
Maybe that's the hint we're supposed to get from this. And I kind of feel like the flow should probably also give us that hint and expand if it's going to expand.
I think we should do the same. We've got plenty of time after all. We'll give the dead the closest thing to a funeral we can manage. And when that's done, we'll start looking. Even if I never leave this place, I'll figure out why we were here. I swear it.
I looked at the fire in her eyes and nodded. If nothing else, at least we had a purpose. Then time skip forward, or just straight game over. Okay. Alright, now I am confused. How did that unlock this? I guess what happened there is, even though they didn't show it to us, getting that dead end unlocked this, where the number 0 bomb is, which is ridiculous because I shouldn't know where the number 0 bomb is at all. But I guess the idea here is we are going to get a flashback for something we never saw in the first place. And because of that, we now are going to know what the number 0 bomb is, and we'll have to check the memo to put in the code. And then hopefully that wraps up the whole story. And I don't know how nice of a bow the end of the story is going to be, really, but there'll be something. We can skip this part until we get to new content. And see, this was where Phi was talking very oddly before. Phi. Hey, what's going on? You're really harshing the vibe here. Would it really kill you to smile? We just saved everybody. Oh, also, not that I need it or anything, but it would be sure nice to get a thank you or something. Oh, thank you, Sigma. You are the greatest. You're so awesome. I'll dress up in that swimsuit for you just like I promised. I mean, just the swimsuit thing would be fine, really, but... Are you even listening to me?
I am. You said you wish there was another bomb, right?
Well, I mean, I don't
I
really.
hope you're happy. You're going to get your wish.
What?
I remembered something too. Just a glimpse. We must have confronted Dio about the bombs. I'm not sure how, but we got him to tell us about them.
Exactly.
No, no new flashbacks so far.
But there's also one more. Bomb number 0.
Felt a cold shiver run down my spine. Suddenly I remembered it too. I heard Dio say those words in the Floor B warehouse. No, no way.
Looks like you remember it too.
Yeah.
How much time do we have?
9 minutes. 4 minutes. It was 9 minutes last time.
We need to get to the 0 bomb.
Right. Yanked the input device out of the bomb and turned turn to chase after. What are you just standing there for? Go, show me where the bomb is.
What? Are you telling me you don't know where it is? You have got to be kidding me.
How would I know where the bomb is? Oh poop. You don't know? She bit her lip and nodded. Damn it. What the hell are we supposed to do now? We can't deactivate the bomb if we don't know where the damn thing is. And see, the problem here is with this flow, I have no idea who's alive and who's dead. It could be literally just me and Fi are alive. It could be that Luna is dead, or we think she's dead. So, like, we kind of don't know anything. And yeah, we're on a betray then ally path. So unless Luna showed up and told us where the zero bomb is, or we go find Luna's body and ask her where the bomb is, I don't know how we're gonna figure this out.
Calm down. Just calm down. You need to think, Sigma. There has to be a clue somewhere.
A clue.
Pretend you're Dio. You need to hide the bomb. Where would you hide something important?
Where would Dio hide something important? Hide something important. Well, he hid the knife
Right.
in between the number 5 and 6 room. We know that, but we knew that before. So now we're seeing Luna's end. The good end of Luna's timeline.
Sigma, wait! Where are you going?
Don't follow me. Go find the others.
Idiot! Do you really think I'd do that?
I could hear her following me, but there was no time to argue. Instead, I focused on my goal. There was still time. So he's gonna run to Luna's body, which they don't move the bodies ever in any timeline. He's running the wrong way. He's going to the lounge. Does he perhaps know that Luna should just be in this room at this point? Nope. He goes to the warehouse A and sees the zero bomb.
Here?
Yeah. Should be between the A-B rooms. Good. I was right. So, why would Dio hide the knife in some timelines there and then hide the bombs sometimes there? I guess it's just a case that even if Dio did kill the old lady in every single timeline, which I'm not 100% sure he did, because we're seeing a lot of timelines where the old lady is just completely missing, and I don't know what the deal with that is. Yeah, I guess maybe in the timelines where he doesn't kill the old lady, or he hides the body differently, he doesn't have to hide the knife as quickly, and thus he hides a bomb there instead. And he could have planted that bomb a lot earlier, I suppose. How much time do we have left? This is a pretty terrible animation for a bomb. They should have zoomed in a lot more and just focused on the bomb. Nobody wants to see blurry, textured squares taking up 70% of the screen on the left and right.
About a minute.
Alright, we got a minute.
Hurry!
It'd be funny if it literally gave me 60 seconds to type in the password. Input device was plugged in, I was ready to go. Now I just have to enter the password, but what was the password? I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd already used up my third time charm. Still had to try. I shook my head and concentrated. And this is the time, and I guess that whole the whole free the soul and lunar eclipse concept has yet to be explained, if it is going to be explained. LXA. Hopefully I didn't write this one wrong, because that would have been a long time ago. Q in S or 5? Q in 5. Was there a single letter here that was ever a number? I don't think so. I think that's Q in S GDQ. GDQ. Alright, that was right. And that time it says clear, not accepted. So weird that there was a second response when we did the passcode in username for the computer. Dot 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 dot. It stopped.
Yeah.
So unless there was a number 5 bomb, which there's really no reason why there wouldn't potentially be a number 5 bomb. Finally, I crumpled to the ground. The adrenaline that sustained us suddenly gone.
How did you know it was here? Did you see it in another history?
It's hard to explain. The short version is that Dio hid something here in another timeline. I guess maybe he'd put the bomb here too.
Pretty good guess.
Yeah. Which is a terrible place to hide anything, unless you were time committed. And maybe he was. Maybe all 4 of the bombs were originally in between the AB rooms, and then he took the other 3 and dispersed them.
Well, you did it.
Later on.
So, thanks.
If this game ends with Fi in a swimsuit and you get a cheesecake image, yeah, that feels very Japanese-like possibility, and we kind of got that at the end of the first game, but that would be pretty ridiculous. I don't need any thanks, just
What?
about the swimsuit you promised.
What? What on earth are you talking about?
Dot 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 dot.
Chromatic doors have opened. 5 minutes remain until chromatic doors close.
This is bad. The white doors have opened. We need to hurry. Everyone else is waiting for us in the Floor B warehouse.
What about the swimsuit?
What the hell are you going on about?
Dot 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 dot.
Go.
It's not like she's gonna magically pull out a swimsuit at that moment. This is time. Discuss that later. Or never. Better yet. Before I could protest, she turned and ran toward the magenta door. That really is a great example of just awkward comedy being put in the story. It's wacky, to say the least. It's not timed well for falling action, because we're in the middle of a rising action scene where we have to rush to the white doors aside and headed off after her. So I guess in this case we are getting to the final potential escape room, and this is anything like the last time. I think we may very well have an escape room and just an extremely long wrap up, so we shouldn't try and stretch this out, and otherwise this will turn into a 5-hour video. Ran into the warehouse to find everyone else already there. They'd done as I asked and brought the 3 unconscious members of our party back to the doors. Fi and I shared a quick glance and then headed toward them. Is this a timeline where they've actually knocked out Dio but not killed him?
So, did you disable the bombs?
Yeah. I could have done it in my... I could have done it in my sheep.
Don't you mean in your sleep?
See, now we're making puns based on other timelines.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And see, this is really weird now because the only way you would have made it to this point is you would have figured out that Luna is a cyborg and Clover's alive.
Yeah. Good job, you guys.
Yeah, it's been an extremely long time since we've heard Clover say anything. No need to thank me. Although, I mean, if you insist, I wouldn't mind a little swimsuit time. Yeah, why is the perfect ending the pervert ending? Frankly, we already had one of those.
Huh? You're disgusting.
Yeah, Fi's calling him out for it.
1 minute remains until chromatic doors close.
You're definitely not gonna get swimsuit time, whatever that would be, amongst asking it between 3 different females in front of each other.
We need to hurry. Everybody know who's in their group?
Yeah, I'm set.
Right.
I have no idea what the group is,
Move.
but whatever. It's not gonna matter. We're almost certainly gonna end up with Fi. At Timoji's command, we broke off into our teams. We also still really don't know who Timoji really is. We think he's Junpei, but they're not gonna really reveal that, I think. Kay carried Quark on his back and dragged Dio along the floor through the white door on the left. Clover and Luna carried Alice through the door on the right. And Timoji, Fi, and myself ran through the center door. If only Sigma at this point remembered about the aluminum foil, because you could literally just say, everybody, we don't need to do the AB games after this. We can just use the aluminum foil to take off all of our bracelets and everybody can escape.
10 seconds remain until chromatic doors close. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Chromatic doors.
Extremely slow sequence there, counting down. And there's really no telling if there's going to be any importance whatsoever with this final escape room, what it's going to reveal. You would think it would be a final secret laboratory. It's labeled Q. Yeah, and I assume this game was created way before QAnon was created. So is this like a quantum chamber or something? It's just a big white room. Interesting. What the hell? There's nothing here.
Well, there are doors. The one we came in. And that one, which I'm assuming is the exit.
And you still can't force it open. Yep, figures. Won't budge. I'm surprised. One has to assume that all the locks are key retaining locks. So once you unlock a door to escape a room, you
The plaque on the door just said Q.
you can't take the key out and potentially use it in a different room. One also would assume that the locks all have different keying on those locks, although maybe not. Q. What the hell is that supposed to mean? I have no idea. That is a giant question mark. Suppose if we don't get to an actual escape room, we might be able to rush to the end, but I suspect we're going to have an actual escape room, because if we don't, then the archives are questionable. Like, there's 4-5 items here we haven't collected, and then there's a safe password that we haven't collected, and then there's an entire collection of secrets we haven't collected.
Really? Now someone's just being a smartass.
Huh?
Nothing. Maybe the Q is for question.
Question. Well, I guess It is a very
If there
questionable
was a
room.
deck of cards here, maybe the cue would be for queen.
That's a quality guess right there. Do we have any items that would start with the letter Q? Supplementary rules. Astronomy today. Bartender's journal. I'm surprised that is even something that we held on to. The only thing we saw was like this mysterious thing that we never did anything with. Mystery schematic. Is there any other item in the entirety of the game that we didn't use? I don't think so. Of course, it very well might be that the mystery schematic was supposed to be used somewhere and I just didn't need it, or I never figured it out.
Well, we need to get out of here.
Like, and as far as notes, yeah, unless it's Kurashiki and Jumpy Doll, I have no other passwords, or unless it's Phi's username and login.
Let's find a way to get the door open.
We also need to find the star keys. I've got enough BP to open the door. You guys need to play the AB game some more.
Yeah.
We still need a few more points.
If we can get those star keys, we should be able to play the AB game as many times as we need to. So...
It's just a matter of time until we get the points we need.
Right.
Well, let's get started then.
Okay.
See, a giant empty white room does just leave you in this situation where you would have to struggle to look and see if there's something hidden in the corners or not. Okay. What are we supposed to do here? The room's empty. Wait. Do you hear something? That's much more visible. Huh? How much do you want to bet it has something to do with that? Guess we should have a look, huh? Interesting. There's speed up. And so we supposed to mystery schematic. Where do we start? Start with a bottom center, or do we draw the squares? Are we looking at a top-down image? I think this cube is just floating here. How the hell is it doing that? Who knows? Can't tell just by looking at it. Why don't you touch it and see if anything happens? Alright, well. Is this just straight up Minesweeper? We have a 3 here. And then we have a bunch of zeros. Bunch of zeros, bunch of zeros, bunch of zeros. Seems like there is a prevalence of zeros. Okay. 2, 3, 3, 3, 2. And if you hold down the button, you see that. This is just Minesweeper. That's all this is. But there's no buttons here. The biggest number you get is this. So unless you were supposed to click everything. I don't understand what's going on here. Have another look at it, huh? The cube, look at it again. Well then, let's come over here. There are winning and losing panels on the wall. The cube can help you find the winning panels. When the winning panels, and only the winning panels, are highlighted in cyan, the system will activate. Here's how to find the winning panels. It's funny, it's just telling me the answer here. When you select a panel on the cube, it will display a number. Each surrounding panel will also display a number. The number indicates the number of winning panels that border each panel. Okay. For example, that would be that. The winning panels are guaranteed mines, I suppose. Note 1. The hint that appears on the cube is different for each side. Hypothetically, if the wall with the exit is the north wall, then the wall to the right of that would be the east wall, which would make the wall with the entrance the south wall, and the wall on the left the west wall. That would mean that a hint appears on the west side would actually refer to the east wall, and a hint that appears on the north side actually refers to the south wall. Okay, so I think note 2, adjacent walls don't provide hints for one another. Each hint is specific to that wall. That means that even if there are winning panels on the border of with the adjacent wall, those panels will not be reflected in the initial panel numbers. Note 3, there are a total of 8 puzzles hidden in the walls. Examine the floor to view the message one more time. After that, it will be gone forever. Okay. So you have like 4. And 3. Do we have anything over here? This just feels stupid. Alright. Just feels really dumb, and it feels like I would have to basically look up I basically have to draw a memo and just make a whole note of this. And I'm just not willing to do that. So instead, the right move is to save the file here. And we will end the recording here. And what will happen in the next recording is we'll escape through this and get the golden file, because it would be ridiculous not to cheat to get the golden file also. And then we'll have everything, and hopefully that means we'll have all the achievements for both this game and the previous game. Otherwise that would be very annoying. It would also be very, very annoying if there's some kind of achievement for either this game or the previous game that was a timed quest type experience. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.